Well, welcome back, Chris.
I'm going to stop you right there.
No.
Can we open this with the Twin Peaks opening theme?
I think that would be the right thing to do on a day like this. Well, I didn't want this to be a very solemn occasion, but, we lost a living, legend today.
Today.
As
I was on my way here for the very late Christmas cast. Christmas/New Year's cast.
Well, this podcast is going to be about ending a lot of things, I feel like. Because, as I discussed with you earlier, around my parents, this was a big Christmas for me. I don't know. This was just a very solid Christmas for me. And basically, when you leave, it's over. Chris will kill Christmas by leaving.
Well, don't look at it like that. Think about me as like I'm continuing the spirit much longer than you would have naturally.
Yeah. Which, David Lynch found his natural end today.
Yeah, unfortunately.
January 16th, 2025. Man. Why we were talking about this, like, what is it about weird coincidental things happening whenever we get back together, or hell, whenever we speak and say the same thing at the same time? It's eerie.
Maybe it's just us attributing like some larger meaning to something very mundane, obviously.
The human condition.
Us putting ourselves at the center of it.
Yeah.
But I think one of the weirder parts is that I'm looking at some Heineken right now, which I know one of his starring actors would have said, "Fuck that shit." Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I never understood that bit.
I don't either.
I mean, it's hilarious, but it's such a bad take.
It is not a good one. Yeah, PBR is pretty bad.
Well, if I had known this was going to happen, I would have gotten PBR and Heineken.
Just weird. Why I've never suggested Heineken in my life, but
Heineken's one of those that I like every now and then. And I always think they're good. You look at all the beer rating sites like Beer Advocate, and they're just like, bad, horrible, trash.
I just wanted like a beer. Yeah, I said it's a beer's beer. It's just a skunky mess. Like it's your dad's beer that's in the fridge, Yeah. It's just something kind of middling.
Green bottle.
Yeah.
Rolling Rock has a green bottle, and it's just like...
Yeah, but that's like a different level.
That's a boring beer, but it's solid
that's
for
trashy.
its price.
That's trashy. Heineken's a little elevated.
For some reason it is.
Yeah, well, it's for it.
And Stella Artois thinks it is, too, by putting that silly paper on it, and that foil and shit.
I don't like that. I'm always scared I might get into the beer and I could choke on it.
But David Lynch!
He's gone.
What's there to even be said? I mean, the man was 78 years old and smoked for about probably 73 years.
What do you think is like the total accumulation of cigarettes? I mean, it's got to be like astronomical.
I'm sure in like the 70s and 80s, he was probably like a pack a day kind of guy.
Yeah, I would think at least.
But I bet as he got a little older and the literature about cigarettes came about, he probably got to be around where I was at my worst with cigarettes, which was like half a pack a day, so 10.
But I like his commitment to it. He never stopped. And he enjoyed them.
Oh, of course. So, I mean, everyone did.
Who are we to, knock him down a peg?
Hey,
he enjoyed every one of them.
You're lucky because you've never really been a cigarette smoker. You might never take a cigarette every now and then at like 4 a.m. if you've been drinking all night with someone like
Which
me.
Just makes it so much worse. But yeah. I got scared off of my mom smoking for 40-something years. So
that's a really good motivator
probably
right there.
Secondhand smoked like a couple packs of Virginia Slims in my life. So
I've still never had a Virginia Slim.
They had like a vanilla kind of smell to them. Like a weird like tinge of vanilla, maybe a little sweetness.
Well, they've got a few varieties. It's just so funny.
Oh my God, she had these huge like cartons. It was the gold variety, the white and gold packs or carton, But man,
do they have like a menthol variety?
I don't know.
I feel like there's a green box of Virginia Slims.
Saw an advertisement at O'Hare that was just advertising cartons of Marlboro.
What?
And I think it's because I was in the international terminal where United
yeah.
flies out of, and they were like, duty free, bring your cigarettes back to Japan. For tax free, basically, you know?
Yeah, Chris pointed out something very interesting to me today about Russian people and their bags.
Yeah, they like to wrap those stinkers in some saran wrap pretty much.
What really do they think that's going to do?
I'm actually not sure what the cultural explanation for that is, but I've been informed by my girlfriend that is something that they do regularly.
Because imagine if the TSA was like, "Oh man, we got to search this shit. We got to tear all that shit off," and then you're waiting at the baggage claim, and it's like, "Okay, I'm waiting for one with plastic wrap all over it."
I didn't get a good look at the people who picked them up. We did see an Orthodox Jew though. In the
That's
distance.
true, which is not something I get to see a lot. You get to see it probably daily.
I get a cost
depending on where you go.
No, I live like a couple blocks away from the neighborhood Chabad, so I see them quite often. And they're selling like some great not brioche. What is it? The bread, challah.
Oh God, I don't know.
It'd be challah bread.
After listening to years of Rob Pasbani and his gang, I ought to know that. Right, just off the tip
Well, they
of my
just
tongue.
like post up like with a fold out table like this guy right here, and they just sell like bread and cookies some days.
You ever thought about going to a service? Just got a day off or something. Just let me walk in here.
The next time they ask me if I'm Jewish, I might partake.
I feel like you're gonna regret it.
I'll be a mole
because it'll be a whole thing, and I feel like then, okay, so let's say
they're gonna start asking me.
Well, yes, or you say yes, and then like you get dragged into something you don't want to do. And it turns out to be a big deal, and you're finally like, guys, I can't do it. I gotta go.
I might get to drive the suck it tank.
Then the next time you see them, they're gonna be like, oh, it's that guy. It's that fucking guy. Fuck him.
Right, I gotta avoid that street.
And they're gonna start like throwing food at you and shit. Like, get out of here.
They wouldn't do that.
Get the fuck out of here. Wait, we're not in New York or Jersey, even though they have plenty of
Italians,
Orthodox Jews over there too.
Yeah,
Brooklyn does sound fascinating.
Well, that is the Jewish state, not Israel.
Yeah, like we've discussed before, I'd like to see New York eventually, but it is not up there on my list.
It's a fun city. I mean, I wouldn't personally I live in the next closest thing to it.
Yeah,
in terms of big city that's dense, but New York is a little has an inescapable quality to it. It is one of the biggest cities on the planet, first of all, and there's just no escape. There's no reprieve ever. Ugh. At least I can go to the lakeshore, and there's nothing in front of me for 100 miles.
Well, I mean, they've got plenty of parks and stuff, but
yeah,
they're just full of
but
people
it's surrounded by stuff.
Oh, I see.
The thing I like about the lake so much is it feels like you're at the edge of the earth when you're there. You can't see anything. You can't see the horizon.
As someone who's been there, I can attest to this.
It's 80 miles across. At least.
Well, I mean, since we're talking about places we've been in, cities and whatnot, tell me a little bit about your European travel. Where'd you go? What'd you do? You've already talked about this once tonight with somebody.
Yeah, that's fine. In September, for the first time I went to Hungary, I went to Budapest, which was a very interesting place.
Yeah.
Stomped George Ezra into the curb while I was there with my
I'm just glad you knew what that was.
That was like Rocco's rendition of the Joker song.
Joker song.
Yeah, Budapest was an interesting place. It's very. I haven't been anywhere quite like that because it is. I get the feeling that they are Eastern European, but they don't want to be labeled as such. They don't want to be lumped in with the Slavic people.
Oh, okay.
But also they're the very prototypical every fat overweight guys wearing sports attire, vomiting in the streets after a soccer game. It's a beautiful place that has some rough edges, which I like. I don't know if it would be a place I would go again necessarily by choice, but I liked it. It was fun.
And that's the only place you went?
That was in September, and then I went to Poland a couple weeks ago.
The motherland.
Which is... Warsaw is one of my favorite cities in the world. I think it's super
that's up there on my
underrated.
list after
Sorry.
As much as I have heard about it from you.
It's a very underrated place. I always liked it. This is my fourth time going, but this time just felt a little bit different. I think the tone there is quite different from the last time I was there with the war going on in Ukraine 3 hours away. They've had 2 million refugees.
You weren't worried about that at all?
I'm not worried about it.
3 hours away really
you can
isn't
take a
that
bus
far.
to Ukraine from the airport. When you land, it's we'll go to Lviv. But I had a great time, and that felt like my Christmas, basically, because I was there until the 20th.
Okay.
It was a very festive time.
Tell me a little more about this liquor.
Oh yeah, I brought Jay's. I guess we can. Is it okay? Your parents are involved.
Yeah.
I brought Jay's parents some liquor from Warsaw because they have been gracious hosts to me for going on 11 to 12 years now, right? So the least I could do is bring them a little trinket back. So I brought them some liqueur from a place called Drunk Cherry, Piana Vishna.
I love that name.
And I believe it's a cognac base, and they soak cherries, like local cherries, in it for a while. But if you go to the actual bar, they serve it with the cherries at the bottom. It's great.
Nice.
So we're gonna warm that up tomorrow night.
I gotta heat up on the stove.
We're gonna watch some 1899.
Oh my God. Well, I guess that's a natural segue, not necessarily into TV, but just mentioning that watching 1899 again. What a blast!
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that tomorrow. It's
What
been a
a
while.
blast!
I haven't watched it since we watched it over like right before Christmas in 2022.
We're gonna be on episode 5.
Okay. How many are there?
8 or 9.
Okay,
I
so
think
right in the middle.
before it was just
We-
unceremoniously canceled.
Well, yeah, but we missed the hand job gate scene.
Yes,
right?
the clanging gate jack-off sesh.
And you went to the bathroom during this moment?
Well, here's the interesting part.
Or you didn't know?
I had just eaten, and it's well documented that I'm like a puppy because I eat twice a day, and basically my body, when I eat the next time, is like, all right, get it out. And I didn't know it was that episode, and I just went upstairs, used the bathroom, and I heard the clanging. And so I
when you walked back, was your dad like, Jay, they were jerking each other off through the gate?
Why are you making him Hank Hill? God damn it. Even though he'd probably appreciate that comparison. But
I know, Dad. I know.
I know, Dad. Okay,
Yes, Dad.
We can't get into that already. Wrestle with your T cells. Yeah, I had hyped it up so much that when they actually saw it, it wouldn't be that bad to them.
The Jack scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
I told them, like, this is such a great show, but there's this one big blemish on it, and it's not because it's gay, it's because it's just really a weird way to do
so
that.
So visceral.
And they're, like, looking at each other's eyes, and it's, like, zooming in on their eyes, and the little Spanish dude, like, has, like, a little kind of a grin.
He's got, like a film around his lips.
Oh, God! That guy, like, just looked
No,
gross.
I'm telling you, yeah.
He was nasty.
Yeah.
They cast him well. Really, the whole cast of that show is freaking great. God, I didn't expect I'd be doing a retrospective on 1899 already.
Did we even talk about that when we watched it?
I'm sure
I
we
don't
mentioned it
remember.
somewhere here and there. I just remember your reaction to the finale was one of the most honest and surprising I'd ever seen. I just remember you going, holy shit, I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Like, it legitimately, I mean, we knew there was something
Well,
going on,
you
you
spend
know?
like 9 hours on a ship and you see some like things around the edges of some sci-fi elements, and all of a sudden you're on a space station.
And it just had surging music, and it was like zooming out from the ship. It was
It's like the ending. It was like part of an interstellar scene.
Yeah. Oh man, it is a brutal
But
shame
you know,
that show was
the
canceled.
thing about that is, I think I've said it before. Even if it wasn't canceled and they just ended it there, it's like that's kind of a neat little.
It's
trick.
still cool,
But the
Yeah.
fact that there was supposed to be more kind of hurts.
Yeah, they were planning 3 seasons, just like Dark. And I mean, just imagine like going from that nautical setting to just pure space. And I mean, or to a planet, it becomes like an interplanetary story.
I don't think they would have abandoned it altogether. I think in the same way that like Squid Game 2 didn't abandon the games altogether, because obviously that's not the point of season 2.
Yeah.
I think there would have been elements harkening back to the ship and like maybe other
Oh,
future
absolutely.
passengers, you know,
Yeah.
getting involved. So
I just like that it there are things that show like humankind is trying to survive and repopulate another planet, and we're all in pods.
Yeah.
Can you think of another one you've watched?
Matrix.
Trigon.
I don't even remember that.
Trigon
aspect
has
of
the
it.
Seeds ships, and the whole reason they crashed on that planet and started living there was because of the bad guy sabotaging everything on a trip to a viable planet. And yeah, lot to Trigon. More than just a silly goofball show, even though that's a lot of what it is. Well, shit, I guess we're in TV.
Oh yeah.
I didn't mean to get here this quickly, but I mean,
Do I even? Man, I made a whole notes pad.
I mean, we can
thing,
always
but
get back to
I
other
don't even know
topics
if
you
I
have.
wrote down TV shows.
oh man, I wrote down just about
I
everything.
didn't.
Just about everything we watched.
All right, you go, because I don't remember.
Oh boy. Okay, I don't.
Well, what did we watch? Do you have that?
Penguin.
Oh yeah,
We watched Penguin together.
yeah.
and in a great setting. We did the Texas Ren Fair this year.
Oh yeah, we haven't even talked about that, have we?
It was an interesting trip. Very tiring trip.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
Kind of
I
a
think
tough trip.
we all agreed after that. We were like, that was fun. I think I'm good. I think I'm good after that.
I mean, it's one thing if you're like Jesus and you live close enough to there, but the whole idea of flying in, getting a hotel, getting multiple Ubers, getting back to the airport. Getting back to the airport was a 2.5 hour process with a very nice Uber driver, but oh my God, it was just every step of the trip. Like, I'm not trying to harp because there may be people that listen to this that have already heard me talk about it ad nauseum, but oh my God, it was exhausting. Everything went wrong around the Ren Fair and being at the hotel. Everything else went wrong.
You know, I've said it before about how car dependent that whole area is.
Oh, that's how it is here too.
And I went the year before too to the Ren Fair, but I had Daniel. I was staying at his place, and he was driving and stuff. But the moment that we woke up on the day that we were supposed to leave, I was like, we are just trapped.
Yeah.
You can't do anything. It felt bad walking across the street to the Walgreens. It just felt like we were doing something wrong.
Yeah, I was trying to find a pair of headphones, right?
That was tough even.
And
they wouldn't check you out.
You get in there, and I see a guy working the counter at the photo thing, which is for some reason still a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, can you check me out? He's clearly got a register, and I guarantee you it was just like our stores. We would have a pharmacy. You could check out there, too. And I was like, hey, can I ring up? Well, no, first...
You pick up orders there, too, I believe.
Yeah. First, I had to get somebody to unlock the damn thing. And that took a while. Wasn't there, nobody at the cash register for a minute?
I seem to remember that.
That was
there were
ridiculous.
Other Ren Fair goers that were like, I just want to buy this.
Yeah. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So yeah, I think it was a worthwhile trip, and it's always good to see those guys. And I finally got to meet Jesus' wife, April. That was big.
Yeah, but the coda to all of this, that's great. I'm glad.
Even though she probably was not very impressed with me and my antics.
The coda to that was finding the guy with the Hell's Pit shirt.
Oh man, that made the whole struggle worth it.
This was on our way out. We were all beaten and bloodied and tired and sweaty, and then we see a man from the back, Hell's Pit, emblazoned across his black t-shirt.
Insane clown posse shirt that started it all.
And none of us are very confrontational people, but I was like, I'm gonna go talk.
This is a moment right here. You can't let this one go.
I'm gonna go talk to him. And I said, excuse me, can we take a picture with the back of your shirt?
He was so confused.
He looked like we were assaulting him. He was
a nice guy, but I think he was almost blindsided and didn't even know what was happening.
Well, he had 4 grown men chasing after him going, yeah. But there's a great picture of us with this guy with his back turned, and we're just next to him.
I really like the face where he isn't turned, and he's just looking at
it. He still looks surprised. He still looks shocked.
He's grinning, but his eyes are wide, and he's like, what the fuck is this?
I like the part where Jesus went up to him. He's like, hey, your shirt has our Discord name on it.
I just remember in the moment when we started walking over there, Daniel was just like, oh, bro, dude, you got the name of our Discord chat. And then that Jesus line, it was just, I don't know. I have always been weird about wanting to go home. Everybody knows I'm a homebody, big time. As soon as I get somewhere, I'm just like, oh, this is killing me. This is killing me. And which is why I'm always jealous of you, who can just be the nomad, and you're just cool with it, and you don't have a lot of possessions with you.
I've grown into that. I used to be not like a homebody necessarily, but someone that really needed to have that
just
base.
Get out.
To have that base.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of I don't know. I've grown into wanting to travel a little bit more and not necessarily have to be tied down to my apartment space. I work remotely when I travel, so I'm still doing my daily routine, so I feel a little bit more at home, if I'm settled into a Airbnb or something, even though the hours are crazy when you do that, because I was working from 4 p.m. to midnight.
Oh God, I didn't think about that.
But even then, I can do most of my work on my phone, so I'll just check it every few minutes and just sit at a coffee shop for a bit and clear that up.
I really wish I could find a work from home gig, but I would never leave the house.
Well, actually, that was the problem. The job I had before this current one, which is a perfect job. I'm so happy with it. But the job I had before was a just photo and video editing job, completely remote, and I just felt like I was never off. Just always felt like I was on. And that gives your boss, like, basically the right to call you at any time because he knows you're, like, not really ever off.
Do you want to talk about the strife that's been unfolding with your company, or is that too hush-hush?
It's not that interesting.
Okay. I was fascinated when you were telling me the other day over Discord.
Oh, we're all good. It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, you know the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Discord, we watched Squid Game 2, as it's called.
Yes.
Exclusively.
We didn't even talk about Penguin, by the way.
We'll get to Penguin.
We went right through and into the Texas Ren Fair.
I'm eager to hear your I know your thoughts on Penguin.
Okay.
You can get to it soon, but I need to hear about Squid Game because what's funny is it was a very, very shocking sudden ending. Obviously, we could tell this is about to end because I kept checking the time. But as soon as it ended, you were just like, "Oh, bye, bathroom."
Well, yeah. As soon as it ended, I had to.
You were like, "We'll talk about it at your place," and I was just like, "Oh God."
There was a lot of weird internet scuttlebutt about season 2 of Squid Game,
and I led with that, with everybody.
I didn't really hear much about it. I basically kind of went off of what you said, and then I kind of saw some things around the edges.
Thank you for trusting me
on Twitter and stuff. But like, I don't really know what the complaint was about, other than it's not like just them going through the games.
That's the big part.
Because I think people just want endless seasons of people going through the games over and over.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is.
That's all they want. And that's exactly what I was afraid of going into it.
Yeah.
I knew
because
something's up.
As soon as they announced season 2, as soon as I saw the ending, I was like, oh, season 2 is going to feel so obligatory. Right? Like, I don't feel like they're going to do much to like subvert expectations or anything. But they did, totally.
That's exactly what they did.
Yeah. And I've said it before. A good sequel is recontextualizing the original.
I was so happy to see some of those games again.
Yeah.
Like,
well, they flipped them on their head too. I also really appreciate the little your little was it a dream sequence where they get the cookies?
With the cookie.
And
that was such a fun bit.
They have that like fractal triangle thing.
Yeah, because the whole thing is like, okay, it's gonna be, I can't even remember the name of that game, but like
Dalcana.
Everybody keeps asking him, okay, what's the easiest shape? And then he has this dream where it's this insanity triangle.
For context, in case no one's watched it, there's a game where if they don't complete it, they get shot and killed and murdered. But
that's all the games.
You basically have to like cut out a shape that's like traced into a cookie, and if you crack the cookie or whatever, you die.
And like some people, like one character had a lighter and like a paper clip and was like heating it,
softening
and licking
up the
it,
edges,
and most people were just licking it. And some people got like instead of a triangle, like our main character
like
gets an umbrella that's like horrible.
And so like when this game comes up in this season of it, all the players are asking like the guy who's been through it before. They're like, "Oh my god, what's the easiest shape?" And he tells them triangle, and then he has a nightmare that the triangle is like everyone picks a triangle. And the triangle is this horrible fractal shape. It's impossible to cut out.
And everyone's just like screaming at him, and it's like close shots of their face and like shaking fists,
throwing oranges at
whoever eggs to the sad Asian man,
the saddest.
I really, I think there were some absolutely awesome new characters. I can't remember a lot of their names because that is a problem. Like Korean names. They're not complicated, but they're foreign enough.
A lot are hyphenated.
Almost all of them.
Yeah.
And that makes it, I think, really hard for a lot of American people that
don't
watch that kind of stuff on a regular basis to just remember who's who. It turns into a big game. Oh, it's that guy. I like that guy. Oh, what's his name? So there's an antagonistic character, part of the O team, an older guy. You know, the older guy who's just constantly angry. That dude
the most
was
aggro man that ever
good.
Lived. Yeah.
And I love seeing older actors and things like that. Like one of the best parts of season 1 was seeing player 1.
Yeah.
Until, certain things we weren't thrilled with happened. But just to see an old person there having the time of their life or being really enthusiastic about the game, it's awesome. And to see the mother and son pair. Seeing her acting and going through this was just so good.
She's great. I wish I had a woman like that just around.
Well, there's a really funny part when Gi-hoon's friend is just looking at her and he's like, "Oh, that sweet old lady, she's so great." And then he goes, "Oh, I miss my mom." It's just so good and honest, but also kind of like silly and goofy.
I feel like most of the tone of this season was a lot goofier.
Especially the music, for God's sake. It was like a fucking it was like Mario carnival.
Party. It was like Mario Party music.
I shared they do a game called Six-Legged Pentathlon.
Oh yeah.
And there is one. I think this might have pissed people off too. They split some of the games in the middle. Like you get to the end of an episode, and you were just getting started in the game. But like the first episode that showed that
all the
game,
episodes are readily available. Who cares?
The first episode that showed that game, it starts with this music. It's like it's just like circus music. It's hysterical.
It's like the moment in Mario Party games where it's like last 5 turns and Toad comes up. He's like, I'm gonna guess who the winner will be. It's just like psychotic circus music, and you're like, good lord, get me out of this hell.
I'll tell you a great Asian product full of circus music. Paprika.
I thought you were going to say penguin for some reason.
Oh, I wish that had more circus music in it. It just had a circus clown.
Oh,
you wouldn't have a clown. Imagine if you heard me say that.
What I in the penguin? You what?
That hoit a lot.
That hoit. I'm the penguin.
Okay, so closing thoughts on Squid Game. We haven't talked about our boy.
What's there to say about him?
Well, there's a character for those who haven't watched
Thanos.
Thanos. He's a legend. Thanos. Very polarizing character.
Why? He's fun. He's funny. He's a goof.
A lot of people really hated that character.
I don't get why. You stop taking yourself so seriously.
I can see being annoyed if you like don't like that archetype already going in.
What is the archetype?
I think hip
School
hop.
bully?
I think hip hop outside of the United States, a lot of people see as really corny and hokey. Like look at British hip hop.
Well, that's a totally different animal. And I think it's hokey and stupid and sounds like circus music.
And to be totally honest, if we're just
imagine that over pentathlon, like Dizzy Rascal.
Oh God! I think it boils down to this. There's no real like gentle way for me to put this.
Oh no!
It's like I think some people just inherently have a problem when a non-black person acts black, or what they would perceive to be as quote-unquote acting black.
Now, okay, I want to bring this up. Is this like something that is, I don't want to say reserved, but is this something that passes better? Let's say, like historically, like oppressed groups. Like maybe this would fly better if it was like an Irish rapper, or like a Slavic rapper. I feel like those usually fly a lot better, just because they have that kind of like us against them mentality. Because like to me, like British rap is the corniest shit you've ever heard, but then like someone from like Ukraine will rap, and it's like this is kind of like sick.
I don't think I've ever seen a non-black person rapping that I was impressed or bought in with.
G-Eazy.
Whether it's Eminem, Mac Miller, I'm not saying that I think white people shouldn't rap. I just don't think it works for me as an art form. And
I'm mostly with you. I'm saying like this is kind of my take. Like there has to be like some level where you're like, I don't know. You kind of feel pick it up when I'm putting it down.
I get you. But I mean, so to get back to Thanos, maybe that's part of it, but I just think
I thought he was awesome.
You have to be the right person to appreciate that character, I feel like. And I'm sure there's plenty of people who appreciated him, but a little more on him. You've heard me talk about this, but the people haven't. The people being us listening back.
Which is why I left Twitter, by the way. So we'll get into that.
The guy who played Thanos used to be a K-pop guy who went by Top. T.O.P. And he was embroiled in a controversy because it was revealed that he was like found smoking weed. Fuck. And what's so interesting about South Korea, you think it's a very sort of Western influenced or very forward thinking, technologically savvy culture, but things like weed, it's looked at as like if we discovered like, I don't know, like Ariana Grande was smoking crack on film. They're very draconian about drugs. Hey,
same with Japan. I mean,
I expected it from Japan.
If you know, I did not get. You know
the
story about the lead actor that was playing the role in that. It's the same studio that made Yakuza, that game Judgment.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which character it was, but it was like a pretty famous like actor that was doing this video game character. Mm-hmm. He got caught also, I think, smoking or like possession of marijuana, and he was just like cut off from everything.
Yeah, and that's kind of what happened to Top. And so
I'm not to see him get a little redemption, even though he's a fool.
That's what it's the best kind of fool. That's what the director, whose name also escapes me due to complicated names. I think there was something about him wanting to give him another chance, like him thinking it was wrong what the media did to him. The media over there is horrible. They're brutal with actors. And another piece of controversy happened with Squid Game. The actor who portrayed the trans woman in this season, who was just about my favorite character.
I'll be honest, I didn't click on that link. You're going to have to rehash.
Okay, there's a trans character in season 2 of Squid Game who is just one of the best examples of getting a trans character right.
Sure.
I think the best one I've ever seen. Because I think a lot of them feel very shoehorned in, and I'm sure certain audience members were saying, "Oh, this is forced, DEI crap."
But those are the same people that would just say that with like no matter what the context was. So who cares? Just leave that
my point being, it's a very delicate thing to play, and
it is. Yeah.
The way that character started out and broke out of her shell and turned out to be a power player, especially in the last episode. I mean, Jesus Christ, what skill was so cool to me.
Well, wasn't she like a former Marine or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Or like reserves or something like that. Because there were two Marines. She was
classically trained in like firearms.
Yeah, she was like some kind of special forces. And the more I learned about that character, the more I watched that character, I was just like, this is the standout character. This is the best of the season for me. As much as I love Thanos' his antics and all the strange like English he interjected. What was your favorite Thanos quote?
Come on, my boy.
There's a character named, I think his name is Jinsu, who is just this pitiful, it looks like a little boy. And Thanos and his henchmen like take him into the fold.
He is like a Donkey Kong villain a little bit.
Yeah. And Thanos, he's like, he kind of latches onto this kid and has to be like really nice. And so he gets him involved for a game and he's like, "Welcome to the Thanos world, my boy." And at one point, that character is in.
Also, this is not the English dub.
Oh,
that's important.
We would never. Dude,
establish
all charm is lost in that thing. All character lost. It's horrible. And at one point, Jinsu is like hiding in a bathroom stall, and Thanos and henchmen are like trying to get him out. And Thanos goes, "Hello, hey, what are you doing in there, boy?" And he's like doing this weird shit where he like turns his head. I don't want to call it endearing, but it is such a fun, almost lovable role.
Yeah.
And in Red Light, Green Light, he sort of gets someone killed. There's a bee on her neck.
Oh, yeah.
And he's hitting on her, and it's like, "It knows you're a flower."
He basically did like the Furio thing.
Yeah, and he's fucking pushing people. And then like 1 second later, he's skipping he's like jumping up and clicking his heels. And from what I read, so much of what he did was improv, which is a wild talent. Obviously, we don't know how much they may have edited out. It could have been like 8 hours of bullshit, and they just put in the good stuff they had.
Maybe he was the drugs in his cross were real.
That's another weird bit. They let this dude come in with a metallic cross.
That's a real like Chekhov's drug. Like nothing ever happened with it. Nothing ever happened with it, right?
Well,
like that guy took it.
He took a bunch, and then his friend took it. We won't get into why.
But nothing happened, right? Like there was no consequence.
I thought it was going to be some kind of a MacGuffin.
Like what are they going to do? Are the Squid Game henchmen going to be like, "Holy shit, you brought drugs. We'll kill you." Like what?
Well, that's kind of what I expected.
But like,
if you try to bring them in,
how did he get those in? And Gi-hoon had his tooth knocked out with his satellite beacon. It doesn't matter in the long run.
Wrapping up on Squid Game, I could talk for hours.
Sure, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun.
I thought it was a blast. The trans character scandal. I really wish I could remember these characters' names, or at least the actors' names. I ought to have a document in front of me, for God's sake. But the actor that portrays the trans character apparently on Instagram posted like a story or a post of a pornographic Squid Game parody.
Oh, no.
For like a few seconds and deleted it. The fallout from that has been enormous, and he's had to come out. This actor does not identify as a trans person.
Okay.
He's had to come out and like do all these public apologies, and he's getting dropped from like major productions that he was supposed to be in over this. It's just like, what is with the culture over there?
You know how many Twitter essays there are about like that guy not actually being trans? Probably.
I can only fucking imagine. But yeah, the only other thing that's worth noting is the creator of the show is fucking exhausted with it. He hates it. He's so sick of Squid Game. Like, he's gone on into interviews and just talked about how this was supposed to be one season.
Oh, okay.
My vision was one season. Working on season 1 was the most difficult thing I've ever done. It was a nightmare. And
so Netflix definitely got in there and altered season 1 ending, right? Like the last few scenes.
It could have left off there, I feel like, but maybe they did.
Maybe.
And yeah, he's just been open about, I don't want to do this shit anymore.
Well, he's done with it.
Which probably has a lot to do with why they filmed
back to
season
back.
2 and 3 back to back. Yeah, just let's finish this shit for good before anyone fucking dies in real life. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so not getting to the games quick enough. Trans character, goofy rapper character, and how the season ended, which I had no problem with.
No, I don't have a problem when it's coming back in 4 months.
Those contributed to it being, instead of like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, like a 62%. And
What's the audience score? I bet it's really low, right?
Let me look it up right now.
Let's read some reviews.
Squid Game Season 2 Rotten Tomatoes. On the old Google voice. All right, so currently, 83% critics, 63% audience. I was close.
Okay, yeah. Can you read like 2 or 3 reviews, low reviews?
Let's see. Oh, here's one. Instead of building, Jun-Ho's plot languishes. Gi-hoon's arc gets blurry. Worst of all, the antagonist remains a cipher. Let's get another one. I'm just reading like the top quote. Squid Game. Oh, this is from Sarah Jessica Rinthyema from Exclaim. Squid Game has cannibalized its original messaging and overstayed its welcome.
Are these critic reviews or audience reviews?
These are critics.
Read audience reviews.
Oh, okay.
That's where I want, like, trans character looks like a boat or something.
Hold on, I'm filtering by low scores. Okay. Oh, this is brutal. This is half star from ML. If I had to describe Squid Game Season 2 with one word, it would be underwhelming. Everything feels detached. The characters are boring. Their interactions are boring. Even the games they play are boring. Season 1 was amazing, but the successor feels like a completely different show. That is bullshit.
I understand this.
Let's get another one.
Get one more in there.
1.5 stars. Pretty much the same as Season 1, except the side cars are way worse. Rainbow bullshit tossed in there.
Yeah!
What did I say?
Sidecars!
It only took 2 reviews to get to, I don't like there's a change character.
Case closed.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think I said Squid Game 1 was 8.8 and Squid Game 2 was an 8.3.
I might move each of those down like a 0.3, but sure.
So, getting back to the shows, True Detective Night Country was 2024, right?
Holy shit!
We've talked about this.
Have we?
Right?
Have we?
I don't want to repeat ourselves, so let's keep it brief.
Let's keep it brief.
Because there's really not much to say. This show...
I'm going to maintain that it's the worst full season of a show I've seen. I'm not saying it's the worst show ever, but it's the worst full season of a show that I've watched front to back.
Didn't Jodie Foster get into Emmy?
I don't... What? How?
Like, she wasn't terrible,
but
she
it was a non-character.
Nothing.
She was a non-character.
It was nothing worth...
What's going on behind me?
Oh, I'm just monitoring your waveform versus mine.
Jodie Foster was back.
Yeah. I had a lot of petty gripes about it. I hated the sidekick a lot. Not for really any good reason other than the fact that I think she looks stinky.
And also Billie Eilish is like the opening theme.
Yeah, and that's
honestly, like True Detective Season 1's intro is like the strongest. It's like a top intro.
That's my favorite intro ever.
It's easily a top 5.
I think Cowboy Bebop might be right behind True Detective Season 1, but that's kind of played out. I feel like everybody makes a big deal about that opening.
But like, man, they go from that to like CGI caribou and Billie Eilish.
CGI caribou jumping off a cliff,
Which
right?
was unresolved. I guess they drank the poison water and they killed themselves.
The whole thing revolves around this massive frozen naked scientist they find, and there's like
they're like ghostly apparitions.
Yeah, there's like a guy in a hospital bed who turns into like a zombie for a few seconds, and they bring back the spiral just cuz.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember the show you liked? Well, we're going to sprinkle this in here to dirty that.
I really don't think that was supposed to be a True Detective show.
Well, it's funny you say that. Yeah, that was a terrible show, and Mega64 liked it, and I commented on the podcast they reviewed it positively in, what happened to my boys? What's happened? And, of course, some snarky bitch was like, well, some people's taste is different. I was like, fuck you. Just fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. If you've watched this channel for very long, you should know they should hate this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, speaking of True Detective-like shows, I've gotten into this show called The Outsider, which I'm only about halfway through. It feels like something that you could have slapped True Detective, The Outsider onto.
And it would be more fitting.
Yeah, this is a show whose main character is, what's the guy who played,
Ben Mendelsohn.
Rogue One guy.
Ben Mendelsohn.
Why am I forgetting my favorite character's name?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Krennic. Krennic, thank you, God. Long gone are the days of Krennic's castle. Jesus.
No, still out there. Well, we're looking for it.
He's the main character. Jason Bateman is in it and a director. He gets framed for a brutal, nightmarish murder of a child involving a stick sodomizing him.
What's the setting? Stuck him with the poke.
He did stick him with a poke. Georgia.
Okay.
Sort of country Georgia. And what's weird about it is it starts to look like Jason Bateman had a doppelganger, because they review his whereabouts and he's basically observed in two different places at the same time. This is based off a Stephen King book.
I did not know that.
And it's wild. I think it's going to turn out to be bad in the end, because it's starting to...
When they pan back and the turtle has like the earth on its back or something.
It's had a very strong opening, but I can already feel they're starting to sprinkle in bullshit.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a show that's going to have like a Lost ending, where it turns out the intrigue was just shit they were making up along the way.
It doesn't have to be made up, but yeah, once you show your hand, it does kind of lose the intrigue, which is a lot of magic with shows
I have
like
a
that.
feeling it's about to get supernatural, which it's a pretty hard...
Like the show?
Yeah. No, like supernatural elements.
Like the show?
No, damn it. Like it's going to turn into a creature thing, where there's like a shapeshifter.
Like Supernatural.
There's like a shapeshifter thing or something.
Like Supernatural.
Are you talking about the show or the fucking word? Jesus Christ. Sorry. I couldn't tell if you were doing a bit or not.
What's the bit?
Like Eric Kripke's Supernatural.
What's wrong with him?
Well, his new show is pretty good, but Supernatural was terrible. I don't know what's happening right now. So Outsider's been interesting. If it turns out to be good, I'll probably try to suggest we watch it together. But I guess since we invoked the name of Eric Kripke, season 4 of The Boys happened, and I feel like everyone is feeling the fatigue, including Jesus, who got me into it, and I felt the need to get everyone into it.
I don't have much to say about The Boys other than, like, I know there's a lot of fatigue with season 4, you just said that, but I think the biggest problem for me is, like, there's really not a lot of creativity with the sequences or like the scenario writing, because it's just actually what has happened in like modern politics and like rabble rousing, but like they just changed some of the characters, which is not interesting. Like you put a spin on it, you know. I was actually relating this to like GTA 6 is like we are so like in a post-Trump world where it's just like,
yeah.
At what point are you just taking actual things that happen and changing the names? Because that to me is the problem with the Boys right now.
It's just as it's gone on, it's gotten more and more heavy-handed. But
it's never been subtle. That's my point.
I was about to say it's never been clever with it, but it's like the faucet has steadily been turned on more and more, and now it's just free-flowing with like, okay, this is just real-world shit now.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not creative with the real world influences, which has always had, and it is subtle as a meat tenderizer to the fucking hand. Like it's not subtle. It never has been. My thing is just like
Less so now.
we're retelling what has happened, which is not interesting.
Well, I am still a sucker for the genre elements of this show, which really are just something that grew out of Supernatural, the TV show. You know, they did a lot of Monster of the Week kind of things, and there's a lot of elements of that with, here's this new soup. Oh, they can do this wacky thing. How are we going to kill that? Which was the plot of Supernatural. Monster of the Week, how do we kill it?
I forgot they called them soups.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like expecting you to pull out like a can of Campbell's.
I think I am the only one that's still genuinely enjoying it.
No, I'm having fun with it because I never cared enough to like be emotionally invested.
I think around season 2, I got pretty invested emotionally. And then after season 3, that started to deteriorate, even though I really like season 3. Here's the number one reason I'm still watching it. I want to see how they wrap it up.
Yeah, sure.
Because what a task. Especially if you know what happens in the comic. Oh boy, they're going into dangerous waters if they do that. Because, I mean, they're going to have to construct like a whole White House set. It's a lot.
Go for it.
I mean, do you care about the ending? Can I tell you the ending of the
you
comic?
showed me the comic.
So yeah,
he like pries his head off with a crowbar.
Well, Homelander basically takes over the White House and becomes president, and then has to be dealt with.
Oh, he just becomes president. I don't remember that.
I think he kills the president or something. And he's just like sitting in the he's just sitting in the Oval Office.
That's cool. We should do that.
And like soups are running the White House, which I mean, to see that on a comic book panel is one thing, but to see that in a high budget Amazon show. What the fuck is that going to look like? And it makes me think they're going to go a different route.
I think they might just actually stop filming and just do AI.
Oh, God, no. Please, no. I'd die.
Well, they might not like the prompt of killing the president.
Well, it'll be old Jim Beaver. Wait, no, it won't be Jim Beaver because he gets... Well, I don't want to spoil the show. I just don't know how it's going to go.
Can I type that in? Like, Jim Beaver kills the president?
No, that would not make a prompt.
On Bing, it might.
Oh. Yeah, it really is sad that a lot of the pay service, like AI prompt things, they're still like pussyfooting due to like liability or litigation concerns over like.
But I want to tweet like Jim Beaver kills the president and see what happens. See if I get banned from Blue Sky.
FBI shows up at his house.
Maybe I'll get banned from Blue Sky.
I'm glad you brought Blue Sky up. Brief Blue Sky moment. So, I finally caved in and joined Blue Sky. I don't really know why I did it. And now, I already wasn't posting much on Twitter. I used to post on Twitter a lot more, and it's usually just like, it'll be like a year where whole year I don't tweet, and then I like give like 10 tweets describing how I like the show or how I thought it wrapped up.
Correct.
But now that I'm split between these two, I'm like, which one do I put? And so I just don't use either.
I've made a hard stand. I'm not posting on Twitter anymore. I'm done with it.
I'll probably still post on it.
I lurk on Twitter because it's just hard not to look at.
Yeah.
It is so ugly that you just kind of have to know. But like, to me, the reason I left was because honestly, I was just so tired of looking at the crap on there. And then also, the second part is that we tweet for ourselves, our little friend group.
Yeah.
It's like an indirect way of posting on our Discord almost, But it's a little more highfalutin because I can think to myself. So, I'm on Blue Sky. I whatever.
Want to throw out your handle?
No, I don't. No, it's for you and
follow me
Daniel
on Blue Sky
and Jesus. So
I just love hearing people on podcasts. You can follow me out here on Blue Sky. Well,
donate to my Patreon. I won't send you.
Send me a coffee on Coffee Ko-Fi. How do you actually say it? Is it coffee? Is it just coffee?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The thing where that Mega 64 was doing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the thing where you can like give someone $1. I mean, it's like a cup of coffee. You don't know about KO-FI? Surely you've heard of this thing.
No.
Well, it's a new like crowdfunding thing that's like
I can buy him coffee.
It's like a micro scale donation. It's like I don't know. It's like
and it gives them coffee? Wait.
No, there's no coffee.
Wait,
there's no coffee involved. It's just money.
Oh, you said coffee at first, I think.
Ko-Fi or coffee.
But you said coffee earlier.
I don't know if it's pronounced that. I don't know what to call it.
I was donating coffee to these guys.
We're going to settle this right now.
That was a crazy misunderstanding.
We're going to use the shitty Google AI to figure this out. Is the donation platform Ko-Fi or coffee?
It's going to be something different than both of those.
There's answer.
Okay, this
Wait, I got a video.
Oh.
Let's see how this guy just says.
Friend, in this video, I am going to be comparing Kofi to Buy Me a Coffee.
I was right. It was neither of them.
It's Kofi. Okay.
He could be an idiot. We don't know.
We're going with Kofi.
I thought you said, okay, earlier today you said they're doing that coffee or Ko-Fi thing.
I don't know what to call it.
When you said that, I was like, I thought they made like a roastery or something.
Can you imagine Mega 64 doing a coffee brand?
That's honestly what I thought was happening.
Well, speaking of things that happened, the Yellowstone finale happened.
All right, take the stage.
I don't know where to start.
Can we put that clip in where that woman with the horrendous southern accent goes, "Y'all guys fuck"?
Teeter.
You can't say that.
You're talking about Teeter.
You can't say that no more. Imagine two guys out in like fucking Wyoming. They're like, you can't say that. You can't say that anymore.
Sorry, I'm really trying to dial in my thoughts on this thing because I don't even know where to start. Okay, so as we've established, I've talked about Yellowstone on a dozen podcasts here probably. There's no reason to go over the whole rigmarole again. Clusterfuck, crazy high budget mess of a show, cart with 4 square wheels. Let's just call it that.
Oh.
But it was the most beloved thing, and boomer fantasy, blah,
Okay,
blah, blah,
thank
blah,
you,
blah,
thank
blah.
you.
But a lot of people watched it, and Rocco Bodie even made a joke about watching it recently. I think it was a joke. I couldn't tell with that guy. So Kevin Costner had his fallout so he could go work on his boring Western movie. he had scheduling conflicts
Oh
with
my
Taylor
god,
Sheridan.
the marketing for that, by the way, I saw multiple posters for that in Germany.
Oh my god.
I was there in September when I went to
my ear.
I went to Hungary and then did a little like weekend trip to Germany. I saw some big Horizon posters everywhere.
So he did this thing. He wanted to do this big movie called Horizon.
That was like his passion project, right?
Yes. Mr. Costner is my parents' age, so he's about 68 or so. So he's getting up there. About time to be working on your magnum opus, I guess he said to himself.
Sure.
But
as if all of the work he'd done before funded this, led up to this, is basically how he framed it.
he's been rich for a long time, too. But
Been a bitch for a long time.
when you're the lead of a show, whether you like it or not, that's the biggest show on Earth for a period of time, you probably shouldn't make a stink about finishing it so that you could do your little, like, passion, selfish project. I mean,
Could you imagine if Bryan Cranston was like, can we just get this shit over
oh,
with?
my God. He'd never go for this shit.
No, I mean, with Breaking Bad, he was just like,
Oh, yeah, just
I
totally
can't-
checked
I
out.
can't stand this
Oh, my
anymore. I'm
God.
just so over this character.
I'd kill myself. So that caused a bunch of chaos and resulted in a longer production time because they were trying to figure out what the fuck to do. And basically it results in, at this point, before the final season came out, well, they did that like Breaking Bad split thing where it's like 2 chunks that are the same season, but they're basically different seasons.
It's shorter seasons, too.
Yeah. To secure the safety of the Yellowstone Ranch that had been in the Dutton family for generations.
You just said the like first 2 words of the 14 words.
Kevin Costner's character decides, well, I guess I gotta become governor. I'm gonna run for governor to save the ranch. And he does.
Of Wyoming?
Yes.
Okay.
And he wins. And he ascends to the status and starts living in the government, the governor's mansion. And season ends. Seems like everything's going, Yellowstone as usual. Oh, Costner's gone. All right, well, let's just kill him
He's
off screen.
dead. Yeah.
We're just going to get an extra to play like
He
the back
OD'd
of his
in the
head.
bathroom.
They made him shoot him. The people
He
shot
killed
him in the made him shoot himself in the head.
Wait.
They drugged him and held up his hand holding a gun and used his finger to pull the trigger and just dropped him.
Well, there are no signs of like any like fighting or anything. He just died. Like,
Well,
do the police, are they over?
They figure it out. The police don't figure it out at first, but the Dutton family presses on.
They were just like, no, he killed himself.
One of his sons is like the cattle commissioner, which is an official government job. And so he had government connections and reopened the case, and they do find foul play. And I'll just skip to the end. In the final episode, they finally bury the bastard. It's like 8 episodes, and he gets killed in the first one.
He's still sitting in the bathroom?
That'd be incredible. And by the final one, they finally lay him to rest. And honestly, first half was really good.
No,
No, it was like handled very poetically and with a lot of care. And then they completely upend all of that significance.
Okay.
Basically, the Duttons finally sell the ranch to the natives who have been trying to get it for a long time and were antagonists for a couple seasons. And they sell it to them for the amount that their ancestors paid when they bought it. So like $1.25 an acre. So they still get some money, but it's not like the billions and billions it was worth.
You got like $60.
Yeah. And basically the whole show was about keeping the ranch, and the ending, they just, fuck it. Have it. Take the ranch.
Where was the scene, like in what timeline or like what part of the season was the scene where Beth Dutton was like talking about that dude that was like...
Oh, the bar scene?
Hitting on them with no words.
That was like episode 2 or 3 of that season.
I mean, if there was like any clear indicator that this was boomer fantasy, the way she spells it out, she's like, well, I'll come here from New York and L.A. and San Francisco.
And they're stupid,
you know,
fuck.
all of America.
Even though she doesn't speak with any accent.
All of America's failing cities. Just, oh my God.
And a guy is just
Give
sitting
me
there
a
taking
fucking
her, ripping him
break.
apart. Like, she's just like, I bet you fucked a guy overseas and you're making it for your last time. And he's just like standing there like, It almost looked like he was grinning, like, yeah. This is the most ridiculous, unrealistic thing that you would let this woman just keep going, just walk off. Like, what the fuck? So the turn in the final episode where they undo it was really well done. You know, it was kind of soapy and corny and dramatic and all the sweeping shots, whatever, of nature. But after they do that, I'm sitting here like, man, they're kind of actually, they're doing this right. This is just about the most fitting way they could have ended this show. There's a character named Jamie. Jamie is an adopted son of the Duttons, of Kevin Costner. He's the attorney general at this point. He's always been portrayed as like a weak pussy who betrays us and does not have the actual good in mind for the family. He's going to betray us one day. He's not a real one of us. And he and Beth Dutton clash because apparently early in life he somehow tricked her into a hysterectomy. So forever she blames him for taking away.
Tricked into that.
It's a long story. So basically, she harbors a grudge against him for the whole show. So for the whole show, this big drama and like we're gonna have a showdown is brewing. She decides he is responsible entirely for her father's death, even though he is not entirely responsible, only very slightly partially. And she just suddenly decides, after they've done all this good poetic shit for the episode, I'm going to drive down there and stab him in the chest. And so it turns into this murderous frenzy all of a sudden. And I'm just like, you just overturned all this poetic, pretty shit you did in this episode. You just turned it into this goofball, tonal clash, everything I've hated about this show. When they do something right, they immediately fuck it up. Which is why I couldn't stop watching it. Trainwreck City.
It's because the parts that they did right were deemed boring by the viewers, probably.
It just feels like someone mashed like 10 different shows sloppily together, and some of them are sometimes good. And then the other ones fuck up the good. It's a terrible show. One of the worst shows I've ever seen in my entire life. But goddamn if it wasn't entertaining from time to time.
Now, all right, here's a big question. Big question. Answer it correctly.
Lay it on me.
You've seen all of Yellowstone.
Yes.
You've seen all of True Detective Night Country.
That's tough. That's so tough.
I gotcha.
Night Country's worse. It's way worse.
Might have to check out Yellowstone then.
No, I mean, if you really sat down and watched it,
No,
you'd be like me, where you're simultaneously like, "This is some good popcorn shit." Oh, and now I'm angry. This sucks. Stupid bullshit.
I feel like Garrett. I'll get on my phone when I'm bored.
So I'm not gonna watch 1923. I'm not gonna watch 1893.
Well, we will watch 1899.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a real show. And, you know, it's sad because 1923 has Harrison Ford, and Helen Mirren as the leads in a cowboy drama of the changing age. It's That sounds great.
Dude, talk about like the two hottest people.
Hottest
50 years
old
ago.
people there are.
Unreal.
Seriously, power old couple.
Oh my god.
I'd still look at Helen Mirren.
Look at.
I'd check it out. I'd see what she's got under the hood. 83-year-old woman.
Are we done with shows or no?
No.
Fuck,
I told you this is going to be a lot.
Harrison Ford was such a good. Okay.
Tell me about the Penguin. What'd you like?
I don't know what there is to say about the Penguin. I don't remember the actress.
Best TV I watched this year.
Man. Best new TV?
Not a returning thing.
That's a tough one. I didn't really watch a lot of TV this year, but I
watched so
guess
much.
that might have to be like the de facto winner. I'm not really happy about it. I like the Penguin, but I'm just kind of like, it's a pride thing. I don't want to admit it. Oh, no, the Penguin was good.
You don't like that it's a DC property?
Exactly.
And if it just didn't have that association, it would be much better in your mind?
I don't know. I'm just thinking about that gold tooth.
Oh, it's so good. Stinky grin.
I liked the Penguin. It was fun. It was a lot more grounded than I was expecting it. I kept waiting for like the shoe to like,
It's going to come out with
the other shoe to drop,
umbrella
basically.
that can fire a gun.
Something like that. Him being like a real stinker. Like
Oh, he was a stinker. He's the biggest stinker.
You're right. But I really like the relationship between him and that little boy.
Oh, it was awesome.
What's his name? I don't remember. It's been a while now.
Victor.
And the lead actress.
Oh,
Whatever her name is.
Christian Milioti.
The fact that fucking Jodie Foster won an Emmy.
Over her.
Unbelievable.
Because I remember when I first started watching...
She was so good.
When I first started watching Penguin, I was like, Colin Farrell's going to get an Emmy for this. He's going to get a Golden Globe for this. And I think he did get a Golden Globe.
He might have.
But she was snubbed. She didn't get
absolutely.
like best supporting actress or best like female whatever actress. And I'm sitting there like, what the fuck? I mean, as much as I like the Colin Farrell Penguin performance, it's hammy. He's in a silly suit. And
he's limping. He's got a bad foot.
That's great. I loved his walk.
Yeah.
It was a little stressful, but when they show that foot and it's like a tornado of toes, it's just, that's a podcast.
That's also, I like Chekhov's drug better. But.
We'll have to make a poll. I had issues with that suit occasionally because his face, every now and then, it looked like he was smiling. Like, okay, can we spoil what happens with
go
Victor?
ahead.
So at the end, basically,
That part made me sad.
it was a necessary gut punch.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mad they're doing another season. If they were going to do another season, I would have liked to have seen that character maybe killed off at the end of the second season, if that was going to be it. But the fact that they killed him and now they're doing another one, it's
And
like,
it
that's
was-
not going to work.
And it was him, too, like the Penguin dad.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it was you've seen too much, and you're part of a previous phase in my life, and I'm moving on.
It's tough because, like, Vic was fully bought in and trusting and everything. And I honestly did not see it coming.
I think it's an example of sort of like, remember how I said Ozark took a big swing with their ending and missed?
Yeah.
I think this was a swing that hit.
Sure.
And as much as it pissed a lot of people off, just from a drama angle, that's a great choice.
Yeah.
That's a really bold, awesome move to do because it underscores you've known what the Penguin is, now you really know who he is.
Yeah, that was actually kind of something that I thought about too because
It was smart.
There's a lot of buildup between like I don't know how many episodes were like hypothetically let's say there's 8. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of room between like episodes 3 and 7 where it's like a Penguin's kind of like a nice guy. Like he's kind of like doing what he can to like bring the others around him up, a little bit.
He did a lot to help
like
Crown Point or Heights or whatever it was.
Like Vic is like trusting him, and Vic's like at
father
heart,
figure,
at heart a good guy. You know, like he's in a bad situation, which is what led him down the path. But like, yeah, it is kind of a reminder. It's a gut punch and a slap in the face. Like, hey, no. This is like a New York mobster that talks like a honeymooner.
Yeah, but to get back to that scene, while he's strangling Victor, I think it was a very poor choice for the camera angle. Because he's kind of holding his throat, and he's looking like Penguin's looking like he's kind of struggling a little bit, but he's kind of like, He kind of looks like he's smiling.
Just doing a racist.
Like he's got this really doofy smile. I'll have to put the picture in the podcast thumbnail.
Oh, we'll put that, yeah.
Because,
okay.
I mean, and it's just the suit just didn't look right then. And this is like your most dramatic.
It was like riding up a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, it's like this is the most dramatic scene in the whole season. And it kind of looks like he's just got a goofy grin on his face.
We have to rewatch that, I guess.
But I think it was the most compelling thing I saw this year. You know,
In terms of TV, probably.
if you-
I really appreciated that he talked like a honeymooner. I
like that they showed his mom speaking like that too, so you can see where he got all the silly that hoit. That's
that really hurt me, Ma.
yeah, like she does it too. They sounded exactly like each other.
He never said the word oil, which as a honeymooner sounds like Earl.
Earl, yeah. What do you think of the young penguin actor?
I don't even remember that.
I thought he was pretty good, and he got the limp down really well, and he kind of got all his mannerisms.
What night
really
of
well.
that was that in Texas? Was that in Texas?
I think that was episode.
I'm sorry, I don't remember.
That was episode 7.
Yeah, that's tough. Recall
We shouldn't
for
have
me,
watched that
sorry.
show that drunk. I was just a really good kid actor. He was just really solid.
He was better than like the Nucky with the big fake teeth. Right?
Oh God, that guy had a hard job. That's a hard pair of shoes to fill.
He looked like he was from that racist Bugs Bunny cartoon.
Oh, the Asian one.
Yeah.
Oh, he looked like that fucking Dr. ER guy with those giant fucking middle teeth. It looked so fucking fake. Penguin was, I think, great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Just a few more.
But, yeah, that actress. Oh my God, just phenomenal. She was so good.
Yeah, she played Sophia Falcone, and I frequently brought up to like you and my parents comparing her to Beth Dutton. This is how you do a girl boss type.
Sure.
This is how you fucking do it. It's such a tightrope to walk because your character could come off as trying too hard, being too edgy, or being I'm so crazy, you know. And I think she just did it perfectly, and I hope she fucking gets an Emmy because Emmys. I don't even know if they're announced yet. They're probably announced, but they're coming up. And man, if she doesn't get something, I mean, I already have lost all faith in the institution, but give it to her. The Acolyte happened in 2024. We've already talked about it.
Oh.
After watching Squid,
We already talked about it. We can move on. Right?
after watching, I just want to say, after watching Squid Game 2,
oh yeah,
it's just
There's some
further
crossover.
reminding me how I can't even think of the actor's name, but the guy who plays Gi-hoon is so fucking good. He elevated the worst Star Wars product I've seen in my entire life.
That's the only way to put it. He's like the
He was
saving grace. for an otherwise
wonderful.
Absolutely terrible slog.
He was such a good Jedi, even though he wasn't given a lot to do, and his death was a joke. That's the Acolyte.
Lee Jong-jae.
He is wonderful, and he's also now one of the top paid actors in South Korea.
Good for him.
Invincible.
But no, he's canceled because he had a DUI in the 90s,
Oh
right?
God, that would track.
Also, Carrie-Anne Moss was in that and had nothing to do.
That's right.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
She died. Okay, she dies in the first, like the opening scene of the first episode, and then appears in a couple flashbacks.
Like, to me, if you get Carrie-Anne Moss, you got to put her in some sick fights.
Seriously,
Like, what
preferably
are you
a
doing?
leather bodysuit too. House of the Dragon season 2 happened this
I
year
didn't watch
or last
that.
year.
I watched the first episode and checked out.
It just further proved without Patty Considine, who also appears as a very worthless character in The Outsider, stupid background character. What the fuck? He was amazing. This season showed just how bad it is without a good lead actor. It was horrible. Nothing happened. It was slow, and it just felt like a bridge season. It was awful. I don't even know why it happened. I hated it. Terrible, 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 terrible. Invincible season 2 was terrible.
Terrible. That
Okay, it wasn't terrible, but it was really bad compared to the first season.
Okay.
You don't even watch that, which is why I'm just moving right along.
Yep.
That's all. That's my TV talk, and I probably forgot something.
All right. Well, we're back from break, correct?
Yes,
And I want to give you a quick shout out. Jay has so kindly
yes.
saved some Blue Steel Blueberry and Lemon Sour.
from Fairhope Brewing Company.
All right, we're going to pour this up.
You know, the funny thing about this is they mostly only sell their shitty beers, sort of like Avondale at a good old Birmingham, Alabama. They don't sell like the streetcar Kolsch. I have to go to the fucking brewery for it, and half the time I go, they're like, we're out of it. We didn't make any. Here's some more Spring Street Saison, which you
Well, thank you. I'm pouring it up.
Spring Street Saison. Most Saisons taste like a fucking latex glove sat in a fucking beer for like a week. It's gross.
Essence of latex.
I want to get your reaction to the podcast. To this beer. Do not act like, oh, this is great. This is great. Yeah, if you don't like it, just really honest.
Well, I'm pretty open to sours and stuff like that, so here we go.
Bottoms up.
Going in. Let's get a good mouthfeel.
Ooh.
We get a second opinion.
Ooh.
You know? I like that. You know why?
Why?
Because it doesn't punch you in the fucking mouth.
That's what I told you. It's a good mix of beer and fruitiness.
That's good.
Although you probably have it mixed up with that Heineken too, so that's probably influencing the taste.
No, it's not.
I want to run some water in there and get an honest opinion.
Let's get into movies or games.
I think it's time.
What's the big ticket item to you?
For movies?
Movies?
Oh, yeah. I've got a lot. There's so much. And no one really is going to listen to this or care, but I have to do this.
So what do you want to do, games or movies first?
Movies. Okay. Let's get out of, like, things you mostly just watch.
All right. You want me to go first since I watched a lot of shit you didn't?
I don't have as many movies as I did TV shows.
I have a few. All right. This is my list. I'll touch on each one just a little bit.
Touch on them, Chris.
I didn't watch a lot. I probably watched more
I
than...
saw much fewer movies this year than TV shows. I'm big on TV.
I'm kind of the opposite. I like a good 2 hour, 2.5 hour experience. All right, movies I watched this year, and I have a little rating next to them. I might editorialize that a little bit and change them up.
Sure.
I think this is all of them. I wrote them in order.
It was hard for me to remember all the TV shows.
First movie I watched of this year was on a plane when I was going to Tokyo, and I watched Hana-bi. You know what this is?
Hana-bi?
Hana-bi. Hana-bi.
Oh, sounds like a foreign film.
Yes, it is. Are you aware of the man Beat Takeshi?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, he is famous for Takeshi's Castle, which is also dubbed over and known as MXC.
Yes, okay. I knew what this guy was.
He is like an auteur director, and he always stars in his movies.
Nice.
It's my favorite of his movies. Pretty good. I give it a 4.25 out of 5. He does a lot of like drama, crime, Yakuza style movies. Very good. Another movie I watched on the flight there. Big one, especially today. Mulholland Drive.
Oh.
This was my first
David is smiling down upon you.
This was my first viewing of this movie, and I plan to watch it again because, oh my god, the dream logic is insane.
I think Mr. Lynch just lit up a cigarette in heaven or wherever the hell he is.
Oh, he's up
on the astral plane.
He's up there. He went on up,
up
with
there
he went on up there with Bubby.
Floating around up there with Major Briggs.
With both Bobbies. Bobby Briggs. Okay. The scene in Mulholland Drive with Rebecca Del Rio singing Llorando, which is Crying by Roy Orbison, nearly brought me to tears. It was so
beautiful.
fucking good. Next movie I watched was Late Night with the Devil.
Oh, still haven't seen it.
I like that movie. I think I
forgot that was 2024. It seems so much longer ago.
Beginning. I like the movie. I think I was higher on it when I first left, and then I thought about it a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Hana-bi, I gave a 4.2 out of 5. Mulholland Drive, I gave a 4.5 out of 5.
What's made you not a 10 person? You're a 5 person.
10s are reserved for video games.
Oh, my God. What is this Dan Reichert bullshit?
Late Night with the Devil, I changed it from 4 out of 5 to 3.7 out of 5. I liked it. I think it could have been executed a little bit better.
That ending I got spoiled for me looks silly.
It's okay. Okay. Like, idea-wise, phenomenal. I love the whole setting. Execution-wise, I think there's some studio meddling. It just feels like...
Oh, like the AI stuff?
No, not even that. It just feels like they kind of lost the...
It's David Dastmalchian, right? I get that right? It's been a while.
So, local in town. It just feels like they got away from the kind of static camera angle thing to make it more cinematic at points.
Okay.
RoboCop is next.
Oh, my God. You watched RoboCop. First time?
First time.
Holy fuck. Why didn't you tell me more about this?
I gave that a 3.7 out of 5 or 3.75, but I'm bumping that up to 4.
It's a classic in the genre.
I really liked it.
That opening is untouched.
Not political at all, definitely. Next movie. I really, really wanted to like this. Zone of Interest. Have you heard of this?
I've heard the name, but that's it.
So I really like the idea of what it was trying to do. It's a Holocaust movie from the perspective of the SS.
I knew it. I already knew it.
like the head of the head of a specific camp.
Okay.
And it's supposed to kind of like juxtapose the mundanity of his life with like the horrors that are being like the horrors that are happening just across like his white picket fence, basically. Like they have like a walled house right next to this camp. Sometimes like they'll just be talking, like a family talking.
This is
like,
the zone of interest.
Yeah, the dad is like talking to his children who are like, you know, dressed up in like their Easter pastels or whatever,
Oh
and
my
you just
goodness.
hear like screaming in the background.
Oh.
Great concept. It was fucking boring.
Oh,
2.5 out of 5.
Jesus!
Love Lies Bleeding.
What is
You've
that?
heard of this,
I've
right?
Heard of
this is
it.
the Kristen Stewart lesbian movie.
Oh,
I like that quite a bit. I give that a 4 out of 5.
I don't know if I can look at Kristen Stewart.
She's great in it. Next one is Dinner in America,
Oh boy,
which you watched, right?
That's a great one.
I like that a lot.
It's not great. It's really good for what it is.
I liked it. I think the performances are really good. At first, it came off so abrasive at first. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Well,
if
that's
I
that actor's thing, right? What's his name again? I always forget his name. He was the punk rocker.
Kyle Gallner.
Yes, Kyle
Yeah.
Gallner, big RLM favorite.
It came off so abrasive at first, not even just in the character, but the editing, that I was like, ooh, I don't know if I made the right choice. But it grew on me so much.
I
that
loved it.
Ended up really, really,
I watched
really
that.
liking it and feeling really moved by that ending, like that scene where they like sing together.
they grab him and they're loading him up.
No, that and the scene where he's like playing guitar for her and she's singing.
Dude, that was sick.
That's just like so touching.
What do you like? Do you like that song she was singing at the end?
Not really, but it's sweet. it's sweet. Whatever.
I watched that movie with my mom.
That's a rough watch. in
Yeah,
some
no, she
parts.
liked it. She liked it.
Kyle Gallner's he's fun.
He's
in
so
that.
good.
Next movie, ooh, so really good. I need you to watch this at some point.
What is this?
This is a Mads Mikkelsen special.
Okay, you have my attention.
All right. Now let's say 18th or 19th century, I think, maybe 18th. Danish countryside. A place so like environmentally uninhabitable that nobody lives there because you can't grow any crops.
Just like dust everywhere.
It's just like cold and like the soil's not
It's
fertile.
like the interstellar situation.
Kind of, yes. But this is like historical. There's a landlord. It's almost like a Western. He buys this land. He wants to start Mads Mikkelsen starts a settlement, but the landlord doesn't want him to do that because it takes away like his ownership of the land is at stake. But it's basically a Western set in like 18th century Denmark, and Mads Mikkelsen is like a fucking cowboy with like a musket. It's
This sounds
sick.
tailor-made for you.
It's so sick. I loved it. Mads Mikkelsen's awesome. One of the most underrated movies I've ever watched. I give that a 4.75 out of 5.
Ooh, I got to see this.
I definitely recommend it.
Hell yeah.
Total Recall.
Oh,
We watched that together.
Great movie.
I gave that a 4 out of 5. I might bump that up a little bit.
I wouldn't give it that high.
I had more fun with that than Predator, by far, which was also my first watch. Predator, I felt, was pretty... Bah.
Predator's a lot more standard of a movie.
Yeah.
Total Recall is not afraid to be weird as fuck and wear it, like, on its sleeve.
That's what I liked about it. Predator just felt so, like...
It's a little rote,
Yeah.
I would say.
I gave Total Recall a 4 out of 5. I gave Predator a 3.5.
Okay, hold on. Picture yourself in the 80s in a movie theater. You've never had access to the internet, and you walk out of Predator. You're going to be like, I've never seen anything like that in my entire life.
That's awesome. But
And then
I've
you walk
had
out of
access
Total
to it.
Recall. I think people, even us, if we were born at a time where we were like our age in the mid-80s, we would still walk out of Total Recall like, what the fuck was that?
Think so? Oh, I don't care about that. I'm watching it now.
Sorry, I had to
Fucking-
recontextualize it.
All right. Elephant Man.
Oh, boy, you did not seem like you were head over heels like
I give it a
was.
4 out of 5.
I really love that movie.
I like it a lot.
It's
I
so
love the
touching.
setting. I think it deserves a rewatch on my behalf. Sorry.
I watched that in a... You know how I watched that with you? I wasn't in my usual, like, in the office with the PC. I
were,
was
like, in bed?
I was in the bed in the guest bedroom with the mic just pulled
You were
up to
trying
my
to be
mouth.
like Joseph Merrick. He's trying
Well,
to
he didn't need to
cosplay.
lie down like that.
Well, he didn't need to.
He did in the
He
end.
did, and he died.
Spoilers.
David Lynch, awesome. Fantastic.
It's one of his most
world
straight-
building, unreal, black and white, beautiful.
One of his most straightforward movies,
yeah,
too.
that's true.
Very mature for
Cinematography, incredible. Like the stage, or not stage, but just like the setting design, unreal.
What do you think of a young Anthony Hopkins in that role?
Phenomenal.
He was so good. John
so
Hurt was
good.
good too, but that was a role that could be interpreted as kind of doofy or kind of like perfect. I don't know. I'm somewhere in the middle.
I don't know. I feel like that performance was so like it really tugged at my heartstrings because I don't know, man.
It was really hard to watch that end.
It is hard to watch. Like parts of it are hard to watch, especially when he's like, "I am not an animal."
Oh yeah,
it's a classic
getting
line.
beaten by
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot.
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Oh, never seen it.
You read it?
No.
Oh, great novel.
Is that school reading for you?
No, this was you know about it at all?
Nope.
It's a German anti-war book, basically, like just exposing like the horrors of war. The movie was amazing. I loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5. But they did change the ending of the book. Not necessarily a bad thing. The ending of the book, the main character dies, like quote unquote off screen, and you learn of his death over like the radio.
Ugh.
Just like they're reading the deaths of like the soldiers that day, and they're just like they say like in the middle of the like call outs.
There it is.
Like,
And what about the movie?
the movie? You see him die on screen.
Which do you think is more effective?
The book, because it's
I would
supposed
say
to-
the same.
It's just showing you
It'd
that
feel
you
more
don't-
like
you
real
don't
life.
matter. You
Yeah,
don't
just a
matter in the
number,
grand scheme.
basically.
Yeah. The Holdovers.
Oh, that's on my list. First one you've had that we share, other than Elephant
first
Man.
time, sure.
Yeah, other than Elephant Man.
Thank
And
you
Total
for
Recall.
recommending that to me. I watched it twice. I watched it by myself, and then I watched it with my parents, and they both really liked it. And I think my mom cried.
Oh, I cried a couple times. That's a very special movie, and I mean that in the most like earnest, wholesome way. What do you think of the ending?
I like it a lot, man.
Because I can see how like a lot of people will be like, it's unresolved.
I almost wanted a little bit more, but I kind of accepted it for just the handshake and see ya.
I love when he throws that
He
that
spits
fancy
out the liquor.
Yeah, he throws it out the window.
Yeah.
Dude, I think a lot of people. I've read a good bit of like comments from people about that movie, and the number one like thing I read is like, why did you know what happened to him? It's like that's
not
once
the
again
point.
you're missing the point. Just like with Squid Game, and just get to the games. It's like this was a period in his life. That period ended. The door closed. You saw it.
Yeah.
You don't need to see him go and like work at a coffee shop and like waste away while he waits to find a job that fits what he knows.
That was a great, like, that felt like just a nice refreshment. It was just so honest and sweet and, like, just heartfelt.
Long movie.
Yeah.
A long movie for that kind of film, which is
But
not
just,
bad.
like,
I like that
the
world.
three central characters, I felt I was with them. It was just so nice.
I really, really loved his relationship with the kid, whose name I can't even think of right now. I'm sad. But that ending scene with them was so realistic.
Yeah.
Where, like, they didn't, like, linger on it. They weren't, like, hugging it out and crying. Or he wasn't giving, like, a lot of life advice, like so many movies end like that.
Still.
It was just like, all right, see ya. And he just kind of jogs off, you know?
And all the scenes with Mary, like, mourning her child that died in Vietnam.
That
like,
was the hardest.
That brought me to
when she
tears,
goes
man.
back to that her family home or whatever it
and
is.
she sees, like, the toddler stuff.
She's picking out the toddler stuff for her sister who's like, about to have a baby.
But they wrap it up so nicely when they reveal that the baby's going to be named Curtis,
Yeah.
which is her son's name.
Yeah. One of the
Trent's,
only
like, falling asleep.
the only scene in that movie that I don't feel like was done very well. It's at that party they go to, and the character you were just talking about drinks too much and gets very emotional about her child. And she just like goes to the kitchen and starts yelling a little bit, and they're like, "We need to go." And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"What's going on here? Like this scene is clunky. This felt weird.
I kind of get it.
It just stuck out for the rest of the movie. I mean, it's not a big gripe because it was still fine. It's just like, what is this? Also, a really great scene is when he's chasing the kid who's basically decided,
Angus.
Angus,
Yeah.
all your threats of detention don't matter to me anymore.
He's just doing
It's
like a cartwheel.
Us. And it's like, why would he chase this child?
Yeah.
Why would he keep chasing? This is such an interesting character moment for this old guy. And a really good point you made is you didn't realize he was wall-eyed until they pointed it out.
Yeah.
That actor's kind of known for that.
I didn't know that.
So going into it, I knew, but it is not bad enough. I mean, I don't know. It's just like so many people in life point out things about me or people around me, and I'm like, well, if you hadn't said anything, I really wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah.
And now I can't stop thinking about it, and I kind of hated that. But this was, I think, Paul Giamatti's. I told you if ever an actor was born for a part,
Yeah, he was so good.
this movie was his movie. He owned it. He got an Oscar for it, I think.
Deservingly so.
No. Mary got the Oscar.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome, too.
And this should be mentioned. I thought it was a great role for her. That was really good.
She was awesome.
But at the same time, I think Giamatti would have gotten the Oscar for Best Lead Actor if it wasn't for Oppenheimer. And basically, I think what they said was, damn, we want to give him an Oscar, but we can't. Let's throw her a bone so we can acknowledge this movie. I don't think necessarily that was an Oscar-winning performance.
You know,
it was awesome.
That reminds me of how like Leonardo DiCaprio got Best Supporting Actor, I think, for Django. I don't remember what won Best Actor for that.
I can't remember
in
that
2015.
year. Oh,
Or no, 2012. Sorry.
whenever it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but Holdovers was awesome. Instant Christmas classic.
Oh yeah.
That Labby Seafree song that plays near the end, like, really tugs on my heartstrings. I loved it.
It yanked my
Really
heartstrings.
Really good. Last movie, which we won't talk about yet, was Nosferatu,
Oh my god.
which is a 5 out of 5 for me. My favorite movie of the year. Awesome.
I came so close to going to see that movie so many times, but circumstance did not permit. I almost went to see it Tuesday, but I realized the scale of cleaning that I would have to perform for my domain for your arrival, it just wouldn't have worked. Those 2 hours and the hour it would have taken me to get there and back, I needed that.
No, I understand, but we're going to go
We are
see
going
it
to
tomorrow.
go very soon.
My only comment with it is totally non-spoiler, but I can, I'm a just Robert Eggers devotee. Basically, I watched so many interviews with that man, and I can see him behind the camera smiling.
Those rings.
Just smiling. Just
Kissing his own rings.
I can see him behind each scene just going,
Oh my god.
I just know he's having so much fun. I loved it. Absolutely phenomenal.
It's hard to say who my favorite director is because I feel like I have to have...
To me, it's not even close right now.
I have to have favorite directors for certain genres. Like, I always say my favorite blockbuster guy is...
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah. But I would never want to say blanketly, for all film, that's my favorite director. So I sort of, like, when it comes to stuff like movies like this, they're not indie movies, but they're close in a way, which is something that can be said about a lot of the A24 movies. And no, I'm
gonna throw out a word: artisanal. I mean, that's
fitting.
Handcrafted and very cared for, and not backed by like a fucking Marvel budget. So
I'm very concerned about people who make old style films and films that are very like well researched and portrayed for a newer audience that may not understand or have much exposure to that. And all of his movies are period pieces that are so fleshed out,
and the detail is painstaking because they do stuff, or he does stuff that most people, including myself, will not notice unless told. Like The Northman, for example, all of the original score was done with period instruments. Like that is an insane task.
Whoa. And to draw a parallel between Christopher Nolan and Robert Eggers, it's like you said about Oppenheimer. If it wasn't him doing this, it wouldn't be greenlit. They are both so specific and so influential in what they do. They can do whatever they want. And I'm really happy. I really hope this movie exceeds its budget.
It already has.
Okay, good. What happened with The Northman? That made me really sad. That was a flop.
The box office was only $11 million for it.
That fucking low.
On a $90 million budget.
I thought it was like a couple million short. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
What happened with that movie?
I don't.
Okay, what year was that?
2021.
So pandemic.
You could blame it on that. Sure.
Kind of like what happened with Tenet. That probably has a good bit to do with it. But I mean, I'm not gonna say I loved that movie. But it was really fucking good.
Yeah.
And Willem Dafoe was great in it. The little bit he had, the little bit that Anya Taylor-Joy had, was fucking great.
Yeah.
Skarsgård was great.
You get Bill in this one.
Yeah.
Nosferatu. So
interesting on there. Very fun way to do that.
I'm excited to see it. This will be my third time seeing it. So.
When we were driving back, I was just like, oh, he saw it a second time. When did he do that?
I saw it the day after Christmas, and I saw it like 2 weeks ago.
Back home?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured.
So I'm going to see it in 3 different states.
That's wild.
I'll gauge the audience.
Well,
the Florida audience was rowdy.
Ugh. Well, that's kind of fun. What was the line about somebody yelling out, you said?
Oh, so right before we entered the theater. It was
the it worked moment.
The funny thing is, in this theater in Florida, in Yulee, Florida, on one side you had Kraven the Hunter, which is like, I guess it's vampire adjacent? Am I correct in that? Is he a vampire hunter?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm.
What is he?
He's like one of those people that's like, I am a hunter at heart, and I want to get a glorious death, and I will seek out the most powerful humans to try to find myself dead in a warrior's death. He's not
It's
a
like a
vampire.
Highlander.
You're thinking of Morbius.
What? Fucking
a little bit like Highlander.
Anyway, there's this redneck dad, and he was like leading his teenagers into the theater, and he just goes, "Y'all want to go see the vampire movie?"
Oh.
I was just like, "Man, you don't know what you're doing. Like, you're gonna be so fucking bored to tears. I know it." But at the end of it, I'm pretty sure it was the same guy because it sounded like him. At the very end, as soon as the credits rolled, I hear, "Man, Kraven would have ripped that guy a new asshole." So that's why I thought he was a vampire hunter, and I could not make that up.
No, that's Willem Dafoe. What's can I spoil the famous line from the Orlok?
Sure.
I am nothing more than an appetite, or something like
Oh
that.
yeah. I
Dude.
am but an appetite.
And I've seen, unfortunately, The Look. I like it. I like it a lot. And the allusions to Vlad, I really like it.
Speaking on authenticity, and this is before you've seen it, but so this is where I'll end it. But I mean, Eggers straight up said like, "Hey, we're gonna make this like historical within reason, with a fantastical element, but it has to be authentic. What would a 15th century Hungarian lord look like?" And he would look like that with a mustache.
Dude, his hair is crazy.
And also, like,
shortness
what
and then
did,
the long. I
what
love
did
it.
What did these like Romani, gypsy, nomadic groups who believed in vampires? What did they believe in? And it was a walking, shambling corpse that drank your blood. It's not some
back of the head's all rotted. Yeah, man, it's great. It's such a good look.
Detail. I love that detail. It's so uncompromising.
I'm just glad they didn't make it look so like the Max Shrek one.
We already have that one.
We have 2 of those.
Oh yeah, the
Herzog 79 one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I really like Max Shrek. I think that was one of the biggest contributions to like horror iconography, and I mean, I've seen you watched it too. It's a little bit of a slog, but it's sort of the nature of silent films. But I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
and I'm very excited to see Nosferatu. Oh my god!
Oh, I'm excited to watch it again. I'm excited to talk to you about it.
You don't seem that taken with the Witch.
I love the Witch.
The Witch.
No, okay. I
love that movie.
I said it twice.
That's way better than Northman. I'm sorry. It may not be like the scope and the budget, but
my order of his movies are Lighthouse still,
Tops for
Nosferatu,
sure.
Northman, The Witch. That being said,
switch those last two. Come on.
Putting The Witch last does not mean I do not like it. I still love that movie.
I just feel like the Witch is more unique.
It is.
I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
I'm close to I would just put him like tied for third maybe.
And I'd put Lighthouse in like God tier movie.
It's my favorite movie.
Like S+. Wow. It's one of my favorite independent movies ever made.
Like who else would get away with that? Putting it at a 4:3 aspect ratio too, just a square box in the theater.
Maybe we'll live to see the Nolan remake in 20 years.
You think he'll do that?
No. He has a little more respect for himself.
It's in color, and it's 3 hours long, and they like have guns.
Shot on IMAX.
Oh,
in this fucking lighthouse, that massive camera. Oh man!
No, and you even notice in the movie that the lighthouse is like 10 times bigger. Mm-hmm. Like they have to reconstruct it.
All the internal shots.
That was it for movies for me. Good year.
Well, I just wanted to mention that I finally got Daniel and Jesus around to seeing Christmas Vacation, a movie that needs no explanation or coverage further because it's each year more and more popular. Daniel, one thing about Daniel that I've noticed, and I like it, I think it's an endearing trait. If I hype something up, he's going to be so cautious. He's going to go into it. So I can't, I'm going to downplay what I think about it. Not to a fault or to the point that it's ridiculous, but Jesus even came out at one point and was just like, damn it. We got this on at the family like Christmas table.
Oh yeah.
This shit is pretty fucking good. And I mean, he liked it the first time he saw it, but Daniel.
Well, he said something like, "This is a new like family watch for me," right?
Yeah, and Daniel was it a bar or something? I think he posted a picture that was on the TV.
Oh yeah.
And I think that was even his idea of acknowledging, yeah, this is a pretty significant Christmas movie. That's how I interpreted it. That I may be totally off course, but it's a great movie. But I watched a little movie, a couple months ago called The Substance.
Oh, yeah.
Man, Margaret Qualley, Demi Moore, still looking nice. It's got Dennis Quaid in it, who is a little problematic. Hey,
there's a tie to Christmas Vacation right there.
Well, that's Randy.
Randy Quaid.
Oh, yeah, true. Dennis is the father of
Jack
Quaid, right? Yeah. They ought to add Dennis Quaid to Trump's new Hollywood envoy council.
I think they have a better chance of adding Randy.
Because they're both very problematic with their politics.
Are they?
Randy?
I know Randy is, but I don't know about
Dennis is a MAGA head.
Okay, good for him, I guess. I hope it gets better for him.
This movie is true. We're getting into like hard focus segment on a movie. You kind of just boom, 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 boom.
I haven't seen it, so don't go too hard.
I won't. But I bloviate. This movie is so many things. It's one of the most confident movies I've ever seen in my life. It just hits the ground running from the start to the finish. It is tough to say anything without spoiling anything. But what I appreciate about this movie is it in almost a Tim and Eric way commits to how nasty it is. And I don't just mean with like, do you know anything about it? You probably know the basic premise.
Yeah, I know the idea behind it, yeah.
And that there's a little body, horror kind of element to it. Even in normal scenes, that movie is so dedicated to making everything unpleasant. Like, Dennis Quaid plays like this hotshot, like studio executive type, and there's just this scene close to the beginning where he's eating.
Is it like zooming in?
It's zooming in on. He's like eating shrimp, and you like see the wetness of his lips, and he's smacking on it, and food. It's like bits are falling out of his mouth.
Talking about.
And everything's wet. And every time someone like makes out with somebody in the movie, there's wet squelching, and the zoom in on tongues. I mean, it is so offensive. Everything about it, it just tries to be offensive and gross. And really, what it is, it's almost like a Brothers Grimm fable. It's sort of just like a take on, like
a monkey's paw situation.
It's definitely got monkey's paw in its DNA, but it's sort of, highlighting how shitty Hollywood is. The whole thing takes place in Hollywood. It's about body standards, aging out, and it is such a cruel, cruel movie. And the ending is one of the most batshit things I've ever seen in my entire life. First time I watched this movie, like I remember I was seeing like ads for it on Instagram, and they ran marketing really hard for like 4 days straight.
This one got some buzz,
but like the marketing was like 4 days straight and then gone. This movie was a flop. I don't think it made back its money. You might want to check on that.
Checking right now.
But I think it debuted. It opened at like number 6 in the box office, and I am not surprised a bit. But Chris, it's a great fucking movie, and I couldn't stop fucking thinking about that movie for days. It stuck with me.
Small budget, $17.5 million.
And
box office, 78.
And it was a huge success, actually. Yeah. I was misled.
Who's the director on this?
It's a French female director.
Coralie Fargo.
Who apparently kind of came out of nowhere, is what I've been made to understand.
Yeah.
I want more female directors making nasty, fucked up movies. That is amazing.
You should check out, I think her name is Rose Glass. She's the one that did Saint Maud and Love Lies Bleeding.
Okay. But yeah, this is one of the strongest movies of the year. It's definitely a hard genre film.
Cronenbergian.
Deeply Cronenbergian, and shot composition, very much a lot of symmetry, a lot of Kubrickism.
Yeah. I'm picturing a lot of harsh lighting on like
Everything is so sterile.
on like clean sets, but there's like a film of like slime and glitz and grime.
It's so
to it.
clean.
Yeah.
Everything is sterile and cold and bright.
Yeah.
It's like it's like in a morgue
lab.
that's or a lab that's well lit.
But that's like such a good way to portray like the grossness of Hollywood and like the grime of it. It's just
There
like
is definitely
harsh light.
There is a patina
Right
over this
on it.
movie.
Yeah.
And Margaret Qualley. Demi Moore's good too, but Margaret Qualley is unbelievable
Death Stranding fame.
in this movie.
And you know what else? Death Note.
She was in what? I don't even remember her being in that.
Am I stupid?
With the Naked Brothers guy?
Yeah. Wait. Along with Nucky. Death Knight is what I just wrote.
You seen that ad with fucking Steve Buscemi voicing that pigeon?
Yes, with Deion Sanders. Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, where Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders sounds like an anime character, like like a black character in a Japanese anime, right? Like, doesn't he?
I know exactly what you mean.
Like, it's just so over exaggerated, but that's actually how he speaks. It's bizarre. All right, let's see. Death Note, Netflix. Nat Wolf, Margaret Qualley.
Oh my god, I didn't even remember
Lakeith
she was in that.
Stanfield. Willem
Did he
Dafoe,
play
of
L?
course. Lakeith Stanfield played L. Yeah.
That was the best part of the movie, and there's not a lot of stuff
Margaret
to enjoy
Qualley.
in that movie.
Mia Sutton.
Oh, good cast. Terrible movie. Horrible movie. But yeah, I really have started to appreciate movies that have staggering bravado and confidence. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of them. You know, when you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think the only one that stands out is Infinity War. That's a bold movie.
Yeah.
Maybe Winter Soldier.
But playing with a full house.
Yeah,
know?
they had everything in their favor to make it good. I want to talk a little more about confidence by segueing into a little series called Terrifier, finally.
Oh my god, how are we only getting to this now?
This is a big one. This is a big one for me. So for those that are not in the group, Jesus recommended Terrifier. At the time, I think it was 2 was the one he had in mind. I didn't really know anything about it. You know, me, like most people, have seen that clown's face pop up in memes and around the corners on social media explore pages, that kind of stuff. Didn't know what the fuck it was. I caught a double toasted review because, you know, they'll do this show called the Weekly Roast and Toast, where basically they go over all the movies and screeners and stuff they've got in TV, that kind of stuff. And I remember hearing about Terrifier 2, and it was just like Corey Coleman going, oh God, how do I even explain it? It was just like, this movie's not for everybody. This movie kind of just gets to the point. It's low budget. It knows it's low budget. It plays with that and what you can do in that space. And just further underscored, definitely not for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say from my part, like when that came out, I think it was like 2022, right? Terrifier 2?
Yeah.
For some reason, like I just had like a cynical streak in me with like a lot of horror-based movies where I thought like...
Me too.
Oh, this is the movie everyone's talking about. This is the big horror movie right now. It's like kind of it's got some internet buzz. It's probably going to be some over serious thing trying really hard. I was not aware of the comedic aspect. And one thing that
it's very unique.
One thing that we really love is an evil character having fun.
And man, if Art the Clown does not have a ball, doesn't seem like he's having that much of a ball in the first one. I just skipped through that to show you guys what was going on in that movie. It's definitely the worst of the lot. Long story short, creator Damien Leone was like, a schlubby guy, not schlubby, just a guy living with his mom in New York, super into like practical effects and blood squibs. You know, he's got quite a story. I showed this first and second one to my parents to freak them out. I was mad at them at the time because a few nights off a week that I have from work, they seem to always be at like a church event because they're like part of the like staff at church and a few things. And I joked, I'm punishing you for doing this to me. I'm going to make you sit through these movies. And boy, it was fun. And they covered their faces for every scene.
They're like the parents in the Dead Space 2 commercials back in the day.
Yes. And, you know, it's hard to explain even approach how to talk about these movies because the movies are pretty much just gore for gore's sake and killing people. That's kind of the plot.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's fun.
As long as it knows what it's doing.
You remember that old interview with Tarantino where someone was trying to get at him by like saying he's glorifying violence and why is he doing it? And he just goes, because it's so damn fun! And like, there's just not a better answer than that.
And calling these movies fun is like kind of a dubious subject to approach because it's like, to people who are average moviegoers or they're not into the art of film and they're not aware of all the different eras of horror movies, all that stuff.
What it's playing off
It's
of.
just like, oh, you're a psycho. You like this. You're a fucking psycho. You're weird. When it's just like, this is a movie for genre fans. This is a movie for people who have seen 80s horror films and have an affinity for low-budget VHS, schlock, practical effects, silly characters. But for people to be so bought in immediately like, oh, this is fucked up. This is wrong.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It's
like you're missing the point.
Everything pretty much looks fake to the point that it's almost funny. And yeah, it's fucked up what's implied.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that makes these movies special is who they got to play the killer. A guy named David Howard Thornton, who went to my same college, University of Montevallo.
Really? I didn't know
I
that.
told you about that. He's doing they're giving him like a recognition dinner in a couple months.
That's awesome.
I know I posted this in the Discord.
I must have missed that.
But
I knew he was from Huntsville.
Yeah.
I didn't know he went to Montevallo.
He did. He graduated from there in, I think, 04.
Wow.
So after 20 years, they decided we're going to throw like a honors dinner for a notable alumni. And I saw somebody on Facebook, the same girl who has what's the ugly, scary man voice girl from Bob's Burgers, Tina? This is the one with the Tina tattoo on her thigh.
What an idiot.
And she loves horror movies.
Terrible decision.
And I saw her post, I will definitely be there. And I was like, oh my God. He went to the same college I went to. And I'm finding this out in the same year that I fell head over heels and in love with these silly horror movies. Fuck yeah, I'm not going. I thought about it. But yeah, I figured I'd see a bunch of people I didn't want to see.
Yeah.
And I mean, imagine showing up at a college after like 10 years that you dropped out of it and whatever. That's interesting. But this guy, David Howard Thornton, it's so funny. I've looked a lot into him. This guy sucks and is awesome at the same time. There's a bunch of old videos of him in Joker paint.
Yes.
And he's just doing like, yeah, the typical, I'm the Joker. I'm the Joker. And I think that sucks and is awful. But damn, when they put him in that outfit and they get that makeup and the prosthetic on him, his movements, his timing is perfect. And that is what makes this movie so fucking awesome. I mean, and that's where the comedy and the self-awareness comes in. Because, I mean, it'll be something like, okay, let's take a scene from Terrifier 2. He washes his clothes at a laundromat, and the blood from them has gotten on the floor, and he mops them up in a very silly kind of dancing, mopping way. And as he exits the laundromat, he's stuck a broom handle through somebody's fucking head, and they're bleeding all over the floor. There's just funny little things that happen. And I don't know, he's so fun.
Well, he's not too good for anything is what I like.
And
he'll put on the glasses at like the Spirit Halloween.
And do like the silly like eyes up and down thing.
Well,
and
like when the guy's yelling at him, he's like he's a little intimidated.
And he's like, sir, if you put that in your mouth, you have to buy it. Woo! And drops it. Like, it's not all the time, but it's just enough to carry the movie and make you realize this is not serious. It may look serious and be really heinous, but it's fucking great. And man, when I tell you, whenever I'm drinking alone, which unfortunately I still do fairly often, if I've done it for a long time and I'm just ready to zone out, 4 a.m., I just sit in that chair and just watch Terrifier 3 for like the 5th time. And just watch like the first 20 minutes and cut it off. You know, they're just fun. It's escapism. The killer's amazing. Each one of these movies has gotten better as they've gone on. The story of Damien Leone.
I agree. I think 3 was the best.
Yeah, it is. The story of Damien Leone and how he spent $35,000 on the first one.
Oh my god.
Made like $100,000. That's still pretty cool. Made the second one like a $500,000 budget. That movie made like, I don't know, $30 million. Then he spent $2 million on this latest one, and it's like $85 million now at the box office.
Let me look.
Unrated movie, all like social media marketing, no TV ads. It's an American success story, like something from Legend.
Budget of $2 million, currently sitting at box office of $90 million.
Oh my god! The dude who lived with his mom and fired off blood squibs in the shower. It's just something that really resonated with me, and it's part of sort of the arc in my life where I'm not taking myself too seriously. Mm-hmm. I'm not the prima donna about how, I must watch art films. Oh, only Robert Eggers and Wes Anderson.
Yeah, but I've been talking about this too. Like, the weird thing about like growing up for me specifically, and I'm sure you play into this too, is like part of me growing up in terms of things that I appreciate and like is letting my guard down and being sillier, which is odd. It's
felt good to let your guard down. Don't be a bitch about everything. Obviously, you can still be that about certain movies, like Nosferatu. Not that I'm saying you're a bitch about it. But.
Wait. No, I think like I can still have like my limits of enjoyment. Like I'm not going to go to like a fucking Kraven the Hunter movie.
Oh.
Well, it might be
that might be fun to watch drunk at like 3 a.m.
Throw beer cans at the screen or something.
Fuck you, Aaron Taylor Johnson. You're better than this.
Yeah.
You're being considered for Bond, you bitch.
Also in Nosferatu, by the way.
Oh, that's true. Hold on. I think I had... Do I have another movie? I think that might be it. I love Terrifier. It's one of my favorite new series. I got so into it. I've had all the fun in the world. I've got 2 shirts. I've got a plush. You probably didn't even see the fucking poster I have over there by the door. Just unreal. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
You can't see it because these lights are fucked up.
See it.
Oh, yeah. One more movie I'll just mention because I don't really get why it was such a big deal. Carry On. With,
I didn't see it.
Who was in, Edgerton? No, what was his name? Carry On.
Joel Edgerton?
Taron Egerton.
Oh.
And Jason Bateman. Jason Bateman just pops up in weird everything.
Carry On, Carrion?
Like your carry on the plane.
Oh, that carry.
Yeah,
on.
carry dash on.
Oh, I've heard of this. Okay, this is
the Die Hard ripoff.
This was going like viral, but it sucks, right?
It's kind of like Terrifier. It's stupid fun. It's a little self-aware. Jason Bateman plays the antagonist, which is really interesting.
That is weird.
And it's just a goofy 80s style movie. It's slick. It's a Netflix movie. But it's just kind of a dumb thriller. A la Die Hard, and it's set at Christmas. Watched that with my parents one night when we couldn't figure out what to watch. It's like a C.
Okay.
Not a C- or a plus, just a C.
Okay.
Dumb action movie. I had fun. Don't get why everybody freaked out about it. It was a really big movie. It was like number 1 on Netflix for like 2 months. Don't get that.
Wonder if it just came at the time when everyone was at their parents' house.
I think
was looking at Netflix.
They knew what to do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's like my CBS conspiracy, where like the only reason like these weird like police procedurals like keep going is because like a dad fell asleep after Monday Night Football. And they just kept the TV on. And that counts as a view. You know what I mean? Like that has to play into it.
Do you care if I spoil the ending?
About
It's
Carry On?
Yeah, it's a dumb action movie.
I don't care.
It's so silly. So the whole plot is Jason Bateman he's a contractor for like a terrorist organization. And he has to deliver a Novichok bomb.
I know Novichok, yeah. That was
I knew
what
you
was used when they poisoned, what's his name? The opposition guy.
Oh, I can't even remember. I know who you're talking about.
God, I can't think of his name. But yeah, okay, go on.
Basically, they make it into a bomb that will kill everyone on a plane.
Yeah.
And do you know how he gets killed? He gets tricked and sealed into a cooler, and the bomb is thrown in with him as it goes off. It's not like a bomb, it's like a gas bomb. And it was so silly.
Navalny is his name, by the way. That was killed by Novichok.
Ah, that's right. That's right. Those are pretty much all the movies I saw this year that are worth talking about.
I think that's it, yeah. That seems... I can't think of anything else. Right? Did we watch anything else together?
Nothing I can think of,
think
really.
so. Are we moving on to games?
Yes, we are.
Should we move on to games or talk about a certain book?
You want to talk about Blood Meridian right now. How far did you get?
I'm about to bring the book in here.
Oh, my God.
Hold on. This is what I use the pen for, by the way.
Oh, shit! Chris has brought his very modern copy of Blood Meridian.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, similar to your Indiana Jones, I did not finish this in time, but I got pretty dang close. Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. What got you into this?
Got about 1/3 through, huh?
No. This is a bookmark for something else. I'm like right here.
I don't have a lot to say about the plot.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to talk about the language. That's
yeah,
it.
You know,
That's all I want to talk about.
I really enjoyed like the first 40 to 50 pages, and then I slogged through it, and then I picked it up back again at about 120 pages, and I was like, I'm enjoying this again. But there was a large, like, around the third waypoint where I was like, I'm not sure I like this anymore. I don't know if you felt like you hit a wall with anything.
I felt a little bit of that. Reading that book felt like a dream.
It's hard to follow. It's
really hard to even figure out what's going on sometimes.
It's a really difficult book because the punctuation is non-existent, and the quotations are non-existent, and the character, like, it's very difficult. Action will start happening, and you're not sure who is involved, which is why it's so hard to follow the plot.
And our main character doesn't even get a name.
He's the kid.
You know?
But then so I've been reading for 100 pages straight, and there has been no mention of him at all. So it's hard to follow. Is he there still? I'm reading about Glanton and the judge and Toadvine.
The judge is the highlight of the book.
Absolutely.
He is almost like a Joker level bad guy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into the plot because honestly, the plot's even hard to string together.
I'm not even going to say there's a
more
plot.
of an
It's more
experience.
like things are happening.
It's more of just a very immersive experience, but it's so hard to describe what's even going on sometimes.
Well,
the Apache, they were Apaches, right?
Yeah.
I'm glad you at least got to that.
That to me was
that's one of the first eyebrow raisers.
That to me was the peak of that, and then after that I was I'm not really sure what's going on anymore. I got back into it though.
So inscrutable.
One thing about Cormac McCarthy that I know for sure is this is, for one, a very difficult book, and his most dreamlike, I would say, and most listless in terms of plot. It's more of an inevitability of things happening. It just has to happen.
By chance, did you read a plot summary to know how things wrapped up?
No, I did not.
Oh, thank God.
But we need to summarize the whole thing. That's not the point.
No.
I did want to pick out a few
of your favorite quotes.
And such.
Yes.
So, for example, let me find the.
What were you writing?
I was just
making notes in the margins,
doing some brackets so I could find it easier.
Okay.
So this is an example of why this book is so fucking hard to follow along with.
I saw it as a challenge.
It's a challenge, that's for sure. Deep breath for this. This is one sentence.
Okay.
It's fucking half the page. Okay. And the language is just ridiculous. Remember, this is a Western.
It's like reading a Stephen Donaldson book.
This is one sentence, and this is a one long run-on sentence where it's just conjoined with "and" over and over. I'm sure you remember this part once I get into it. They crossed before the sun and vanished one by one and reappeared again, and they were black in the sun, and they rode out of the vanished sea like burnt phantoms, with the legs of animals kicking up the spume that was not real, and they were lost in the sun, and lost in the lake, and they shimmered and slurred together and separated the lake. No, sorry. And separated again, and they augmented by planes and lurid avatars.
Hard to even recite.
And began to coalesce, and there began to appear above them in the dawn, broached sky, a hellish likeness of their ranks, riding huge
I know where you are.
and
Okay.
inverted, and the horses' legs incredibly elongate, trampling down the high, thin cirrus. And the howling anti-warriors pendant from their mounts, immense and chimeric, and the high, wild cries carrying the flat and barren pan like the cries of souls broke through some misweave in the weft of things into the world below.
Holy shit.
One sentence. This is just like about them riding a horse with a scalp.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did it say right here? Hold on. It's just hard to find in this one sentence. Anyway, you get the idea. That was one of the lines I was just like, oh my god. It's so
I'm trying to
hard
remember what even got me into this thing. I think I started seeing like illustrations of Judge Holden.
Yeah, well, the big grin.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Instagram, and I just kept clicking on it. I was like, what is this?
That's a very Disco Elysium looking art.
Yeah. You got more excerpts?
I got two more. This was a good one just because I thought this was like a sick, like almost Elden Ring kind of idea.
Is this the armor one?
It's also no.
That's
I left that
that's
out
a great
because
one.
that's really good, but I forgot about it. This is just like a cool idea and like a very mythical aspect and like kind of fantastical, almost Lord of the Rings. Like, what are the Nazgul, right?
Yes.
All right, here. This really stuck out to me. They're talking about the horse, like the riders again. Those riders seemed journeyed from a legendary world, and they left behind a strange tincture like an afterimage on the eye, and the air they disturbed was altered and electric.
Wow.
So just like them moving through a town, like changed the whole like scope of what people
This
felt.
this guy's imagination is what kept me coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, I've never seen an author evoke images in such an abstract, bizarre...
I think to
way.
a fault because it's so easy to get lost in it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where I'm just like, I'm not even thinking about what's happening.
There's certain pages where I found myself, I just close the book and just sit and think about it. And then I go back and reread it, and I'm just like, God damn, like, what are they talking about sometimes? Not even because there's like an archaic word that I don't understand. It's just so hard to string together what he's trying to impart to you and
You know
portray.
what I really had to reread like 2 or 3 times?
What?
Was the part where they're trying to make gunpowder and they're pissing on the volcanic ash.
Fuck, dude.
And I was just like, I was reading that, and then all of a sudden I was just reading about them pissing on each other, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, it establishes like a sort of tone that's very serious, and then there's like an event that
It's so
happens. It's like, wait, this is what's happening?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go back and read. Oh, what the
So,
fuck?
like, maybe halfway through, they're out of gunpowder, and they're like besieged by Apaches. And they're on this like volcanic land, and one of the main characters, I think it might be the judge, he finds out that the like volcanic ash that they're like traipsing through can be used for gunpowder, and so he starts cutting on it with his knife, and he commands like his underlings, I guess, or the other people in the gang, to like piss on the volcanic ash so he can knead it like a dough, and like mix it with the nitrate, right, something like that.
It's so visceral.
And then they use this gunpowder and just slaughter like 50 Apaches and scalp them. It's just ridiculous. One last line that made me like, it just cracked me up. I thought this was hilarious. You might remember this one. This is about 2/3 of the way through the book. By dark, the streets were filled with besottled bedlamites, lurching and cursing and ringing the church bells with pistol balls. Just insanity, like right off the bat. Yeah, ringing the church bells with pistol balls and a godless chivi, which is like jewelry, I guess, until the priest emerged, bearing before him the crucified Christ and exhorting them with fragments of Latin in a sing-song chant. The man was drubbed in the street and prodded obscenely, and they flung gold coins at him. Like, just this guy coming out telling him to stop, just beat him.
Listen, okay, it's
Throwing money at him.
You're gonna think I'm a real nut, which you probably thought before this book. I am actually on my second read of it.
Okay, I don't blame you.
Because the way I look at this book, it's sort of an academic curiosity.
Absolutely, to say it's a challenging read is an understatement.
Yeah.
It is really advanced.
It took me back to when we would be assigned a book in like grade school or early when I was in college, where it almost just felt like this is just a challenge. They're challenging me in my grasp of the English language. They want me to do the research. I remember when I read, what was it? Scarlet Letter was Hawthorne, right?
Capote, right?
Capote?
No, that's in Cold Blood. Oh, I got that mixed up. Sorry.
I'm sitting here like, what the fuck?
Scarlet Letter. Yeah, I was thinking In Cold Blood.
Scarlet Letter author. Yeah, I was right.
Don't make me look like a fool twice. In Cold Blood was Capote, right?
I think so. Shut up! Shut up! Hawthorne also was known for weird punctuation, run-on sentences, the king of the comma splice. Do we all know about the comma splice?
Yes, we do.
When I first started writing, I was very fond of the comma splice, but it is a very complicated writing style, and it's frowned upon by a lot in the literary community as being bullshit, basically. Then when I got into Blood Meridian, I was immediately spirited back to reading Hawthorne, except this was like Hawthorne on crack. I mean, he has entire pages, 2 or 3 pages that'll be one sentence, uninterrupted, and the detail of describing simple scenarios, it is like obfuscation to the max. It is absurd, and I'm a sucker for it.
Yeah, I am too. It's just like I think elements of the plot were really starting to grind to a halt maybe at some point, and I was very like having trouble keeping along.
The plot of that book, written by a normal person, would be about 50 pages.
I was about to say, it's really short.
It is not a complicated story, and it's actually a short
just
story.
Going through different towns, killing Indians.
Yes. And it's vicious and horrifying and one of the most visceral things I've ever read in my entire life. And when I got to the final page and I shut that book, I was like, I still don't really totally get what happened. And it felt like dream logic, like you said. And I just said, I've got to start reading this again. I have to grasp this harder. And I just fell off on the second read.
I get that. My favorite line, though, I wanted to mention, I'm going to paraphrase because I just kind of basically remember it, but they are describing the attack by, I don't know if they're Apaches at this point, but they're like,
might as well be,
in Mexico, and they're attacked by natives. Mm-hmm. And this is like the kid who's like the supposed main character's first like conflict when he's with this band of like irregular military men, like American soldiers. And the line describing some of the like attire that they're wearing, one of the lines says something like, and one of them was wearing plated armor whose dents were made by a morning star, wielded by a Spaniard whose bones had turned to dust 400 years ago. Like, that is the sickest imagery possible.
It is. So it's sort of this like this conflict of, this is so many things I love going on, but it is so dense and it is so, oh my God, I just can't think of a word for it. I seriously felt like all of it that I read was like waking up from a weird dream, and where things are hazy. You kind of get what happened by the time you're done reading it, but you're still not very sure.
That's a good way to put it.
And I just kept finding myself on the second read doing the same thing I did on the first, where I'm reading this sentence again and again and again before I get it. And that's when I was like, I can't read this again.
Yeah. Maybe in a few years you'll come back to it.
I just knew you, as a fan of the Western genre, needed to see probably the most unique take I've ever seen in defining the feeling of what it really felt like to be there.
And it's unique in that way that it is such like a true blue Western, that it's like so visceral and detailed that it doesn't even feel like a Western anymore.
It's so cerebral.
It feels like a foreign planet.
And like I said, Stephen Donaldson is I think he's still alive, is or was an author who wrote the Thomas Covenant saga, which is sort of this weird high fantasy medieval mixed with like cyber technology series that my sister got into. And he was like, I think he was like a college professor, like an expert on like archaic like words. And frequently, like I've read a couple of those Thomas Covenant books. They're really good. He used words that were just so absurd. I was just like, what the fuck? And there were a few that I looked up, and it was like Middle English shit and stuff that like Google didn't pull that many results up on. And it brought me back to that feeling. And when I first read that book, Blood Meridian, I had a page, like a physical sheet of paper, where I would write down a word that I wasn't sure about and didn't feel like looking up at the moment. I wish I could find it. I tried to fucking find it. I don't know where it went.
Did you write down lugubrious?
Probably at one point.
I gotta start implementing that in my
And
vocabulary.
it was just such. By the time I was done with the book, it was like 60 words written on the page that were just so outrageous and so dead English.
He also like combines words. Like in that last line the last line about them beating that priest to death, he combines the word pistol ball.
Yep.
Just one word, pistol ball.
Weird little portmanteau, you know?
So odd.
Like you said, it's extremely advanced level writing. It is, I don't know about to a fault. I think if you're into it, I don't even consider it there being a fault.
I guess.
And I was very into it, even though it was a pain in the ass. That book sucked to read sometimes.
See, that's what I felt from like page 50 to about 100. I was like, I'm not sure I like this.
I mean, you don't even necessarily need to finish it. As someone who has finished that book and has read like the first third of it again, I don't think you get a lot more after the point you're at. You get it. You get the point.
Well, I do get it, but I do want more. I'm starting to get more and more as I go on. It was just that
it gets a little easier to read.
That middle part was just such a slog.
I put it down.
They introduced so many characters. Like they introduced Glanton,
and
his whole gang, and I'm just like, where is my character? Like, where are we?
You are the character.
Have I left him? You know, it's just so. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's kind of the point. Like you don't, in the same way that you don't think about yourself as much as like the main character of your own story.
But it was just much easier to read the first like 40 to 50 because it was following the kid. The kid did this, the kid did this, and then all of a sudden it's just no mention of him.
I think you could,
but he's there.
I think this book would be a great like master degree level like English, like a whole semester. Just let's dissect this monster. And I mean, that would be so fascinating to go through. I'm not saying I want to go through that in a school setting again, but my God, you could teach a whole semester on this book.
Yeah.
But that's Blood Meridian, and I'm glad we didn't really spoil too many things. Not that it's a book full of spoilers.
I think we got what we needed to out of it, which is like a feeling. That's kind of the whole point of it, like grabbing individual lines and kind of explaining like how it feels.
It was a lens to the West that I've never... Could you imagine if Dan Reichert was tasked with reading Blood Meridian? Could you imagine listening to the audiobook of him reading Blood Meridian?
I think his entire being would like implode. I think he would like be like some Cronenberg scene. Or like
Dan Reichert body horror.
Face like melts inward and like
turns into the Reverend.
Bianca walks
or Judge Holden.
Like, oh my God, are you okay?
Why did I just call the Judge Holden the Reverend?
Well, there's the ex-priest, one word.
True. As much as I've loved thinking and letting Blood Meridian live in my headspace, I'm quite happy at this point with the conclusion of this conversation, putting it to bed.
Yeah, I'll finish it on my way back home.
I'll be happy if you finish it, but that's a task.
I've got like 60 pages left.
Not bad, not bad.
That's a good flight.
It'll only take about 5 times longer than any other 60 pages in a book. So let's get into some games. I think we're at the point where we're so long into the podcast that we need to boom, 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 like you did with your movie picks.
Yeah.
I was impressed you had that much constraint. Let's just get straight into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
Oh, I disagree. Let's start with games that you've played that I haven't played.
Well, fuck me!
Let's do the boom.
Fine, take it.
All
You
right.
just take it and run, sir.
I'm gonna mention games that I play that you didn't play, so we don't have to talk about them too long. How about that?
Sure.
Similar to the movie section. All right. Games I played this year. Well, you know what? My game of the year last year, actually, on this podcast, I pronounced was Final Fantasy 16. I had not finished it at the time, but I did this year in about February. It was awesome. I gave it a 9 out of 10. It was just a fantastic,
That's a strong score.
fantastic return to form. I thought it was trivia. We did play this together. Helldivers 2, I gave that a 5 out of 10. I did not like that.
I didn't like it either.
I don't understand.
But also, I am in no position to talk about competitive multiplayer games.
I replayed Final Fantasy VII Remake in preparation for Rebirth. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It's okay. It's a bad retelling. Well, not a bad. It's an okay retelling of an insanely good story. I played the original Final Fantasy IX again, probably my 5th or 6th time. 8.75 out of 10. Love it. Love the return to form for like a medieval setting. Awesome.
Fuck yeah.
They went,
That 15 was weird. 15, I'm sorry, it was just kind of weird.
15, yeah. But this is 9. This is a PS1 game.
I'm just thinking of the weirdness of certain Final Fantasies.
But like 7 and 8 were like a more cyberpunk.
I think most of them should just be medieval fantasy.
Yeah, 7 and 8 were like big into the cyberpunk kind of stuff.
As the big layman of the series.
9 was just like, we're bringing back like the crystal and knights and
Fuck
stuff.
yes.
10, I started it. It's okay. I've played it. It doesn't matter.
What about
Okay.
10 too?
Oh,
That's the Final Fantasy I played the most of.
that's
Irony.
really hard
Hilarious.
to hear. Rebirth, which was like the big
Oh yeah.
release this year. That was back in February. I gave that an 8.5. I think it's a really
we
good-
moved up. Okay.
It's a better game than Remake. It's a more fleshed out game. But God, there is so much fucking busy work. There is no reason for that game to be open world other than to add hours to it. There is so many needless side quests.
Ubisoft syndrome.
It is totally a fill out the map game.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I will do that, and it cost me dear hours of my life. I liked it a lot. Story, it's still reimagining a classic story. It's kind of doing
course.
weird things with it. It's whatever. Doom Eternal, I finally beat.
Oh, please tell me about that.
I gave that an 8 out of 10. I think it's like a really great game that
It asks a lot compared to the first one.
it's like a movie, like a director's cut. Like it needed an editor.
You got over the combat like puzzle stuff, right? At some point, it just became natural.
Oh, I
pivoting
liked
between
the
all
combat
those
puzzle
different
stuff
abilities.
at the end, but the combat puzzles were too fucking long. I was exhausted by the end of each one.
What do you think of that final boss? I thought it was a little underwhelming,
Yeah,
and it was long, but it wasn't hard.
that game needed an editor just to say, "Hey, the fight should stop here."
Here's how I feel about the game. Doom 2016 is one of my favorite shooters ever made. What a fresh breath.
Yes,
I'll probably never play Doom Eternal again.
exactly. That's the thing I'm talking about. Doom 2016 is like a 8-hour.
Perfect.
I don't even have to.
Perfect.
I don't have to think too hard. The bosses are a little challenging. Like, it just was.
You excited
Just
for the
had
new one?
restraint. Absolutely.
That new one looks sick.
I'm
You fucking flying that shit, bro.
You have a fucking morning star, or a flail morning star, no less. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know where to start with it. 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Maybe my game of the year. Maybe. We'll discuss it a little
Not
bit.
indie. Oof.
Replayed BioShock.
Oh, I'm always down for BioShock.
That's a perfect 10 for me. I love
Wow.
it to death.
I don't think I can give it a 10.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which you so graciously lent to
Hate
me.
it. I don't hate it.
You hate it?
I don't hate it. I just didn't care for it.
I think it's a really fun game for about 2 hours.
There you go. Which I would not say about Mario Odyssey.
And I don't need to play much more of it. It gives me that kind of like bored feeling in the pit of my stomach
Just
where I'm
didn't
like,
like
I wish
it.
I could do something else. It's fine.
It's fine. I shouldn't say I don't like it.
I'll save this for later. Shadow of the Erd Tree will be later.
Oh, God.
I finally played Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Oh, goodness. That's a tricky one to discuss.
I have a problem.
Did you
with
beat
that
it?
game. I did.
Oh, you saw
So
the doggy
this
KK
is-
Slider, right?
Yes. I got credits.
And it was really weird when you got credits, wasn't it?
And this is where I have my complaint with it. Like, a large bulk of that game is after the credits. I thought
Yeah, that's weird.
I was presented by
They stunted their own
Mr.
game.
Nook that I am striving for 5 stars to get KK Slider to throw a concert. I get to 3 stars. He comes. I get credits. I was pooping out of my asshole on the toilet when I got credits. On accident.
Fitting.
And I put it on the cold tile floor and was just listening to KK Slider sing, and I was like, "Is this really it?"
I mean, I wasn't pooping my guts out, but perhaps
more
metaphorically,
solid loaves.
I think metaphorically, I did.
But like after that, I guess it's like an intrinsic problem with me. But like after I get the credits, I'm like, I don't have any desire to continue.
All the air is let out of the balloon. And that's exactly what happened to me. They did all this DLC.
I was going to say the wind was taken out of my sails, but yeah, you said
the Island Paradise crap.
I haven't touched it since.
I've tried to get back into it like a dozen times, and it's not going to happen.
Honestly, it kind of hurt me a little bit because I was enjoying my time with it.
I enjoyed it up until that credits.
Yeah. And
that was it for me.
It shortchanged itself. It was a terrible decision, whoever did that. Make it 5 stars. Make it like a challenge to get. Do you have anything to say on that? Other than you agree? I know.
I agree. Fully. What do you give it for a score?
7.5.
That's generous. Give it about a 6.5.
I replayed for the first time since 2010 or 11 Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, that's a lot to ask.
The PS1 release.
Oh, my God.
So I thought this was going to be more of a slog than it was.
What a task.
I enjoyed it so much. It was so much fun. I give it an 8.5
Where
out of 10.
are you and Daniel with this?
We're near the end of 3.
Okay, because I never hear anything about you guys playing those things.
We're near the end of 3. Metal Gear Solid 1. Way better than I remember. Oh my God, so good. It's still so good. 2, we played 2. I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a better game overall, but the story is kind of like fucking crazy.
Well, they're all like that, from what I've
but
heard.
it's like someone needed an editor again.
Oh, goodness. Blood
3.
Meridian. Or not Blood Meridian.
MGS 3, we're not done playing it. I've played it a couple times. It's like one of my favorite. It's a 9.5.
You excited for that remake?
Yeah, 9.5 out of 10 for me.
I'll probably check out that remake.
Backrooms, Escape Together.
Oh, I should have put this on our list.
Let's come back to that one, okay? Last of Us Part 2.
Oh.
I give it a 9.
Wow. Favorite part of the game.
Thank you for bullying me into playing this.
I gave Chris that game what year? Like 2020?
maybe, whenever it came out. Thank you for pushing me into playing that, even though I was reluctant. I do not regret it. Loved it.
What was your original hangout? The Joel thing?
No. I just was
spoiled?
not interested in the world anymore.
I feel like you kind of got this precious thing about, like, love the first one, shouldn't be a second one. Then you got what happened to Joel spoiled, and the show came out, and the brand got stinky.
I think, even though it was 7 years later, I think it just came out at the wrong time for me.
Okay.
I just don't know what it was, but I loved 2. I think it's a better game than 1.
One of the best campaigns I've ever played.
It's just such a trusting narrative that it's asking the player quite a bit to just let go and believe in what the narrative is trying to do. I really appreciate that. I think it's a phenomenal.
Before you move on, tell me a little bit about Abby.
It's if you don't understand and appreciate what that character means, then you need to grow up.
I want to play Joel.
That
Why
character
am I going to play women?
The character is so good.
She's amazing.
The whole
highlight of the game.
The whole crew is so good.
Yeah,
and it does that thing where it thrusts you into that, and where you're like, I don't know these people, I don't like them, whatever. But that's a testament to how good
then everything turns
the
right
storytelling
around.
is, because you're like, I really care for everybody here,
and you take their side. I took their side.
Absolutely.
Fuck Joel and Ellie.
And by the end of it, when you're doing the QuickTime event, fighting Abby, I was really I don't want to be hitting square.
Did you have the feeling of what was it all for? At the very ending when they're in the water, in the shallows?
What was it all for?
What was the point? She lets her go. The whole thing is a revenge quest to get her.
In a bad way?
Yeah.
No.
A lot of people were just like, I did all this and she just let her go. What was the fucking point?
No Country for Old Men, McCarthy.
Love that game.
Inevitability of, cycle of violence and stuff.
Can't wait for 3.
2 was awesome. I loved it. I'm so glad.
Music to my ears, sir.
Play that. Oh, Alan Wake.
Okay, I gotta ask you something. You played Alan Wake 1, which is a game that I think is a little too old for me to ever finish, but we do this thing with our Discord server where Chris makes a banner. I don't want to say we. I say we because we contribute. He reaches out to us and asks for subjects and ideas for the photo. You got fucking Indiana Jones with his little handsy fingers coming for Alan Wake 2. That game really hits you.
Well, I haven't I haven't finished Alan Wake 2. I'm talking about Alan Wake 1 right now.
That's what I mean.
I won't say Alan Wake 1 hit me. It was a good game. I give it a 7.
360 ass game. God damn.
But, I think I mentioned it. I might have said this, or I might have saved this for the podcast, but if I was my age now in 2010 when that came out, that would have been fucking huge. That would have been like the game for me.
I played like the opening sequence where you're like stumbling around in the storm.
Yeah.
With the flashlight, and it just didn't work for me at first.
It's an old ass game.
It was clunky.
I won't play it again.
And I don't know why I bought the second one. I think just buzz was so good about it, and I played it on stream and was confused about what I was doing. Yeah. I was in like the what do they call the Mine Palace or whatever, and I was like, this is just not the pace I'm going for. I'll probably get back to it, especially after hearing all this.
So one I liked, I had a fun time with it, but it's also just like a 360 ass game, like you said.
Very much so.
The only reason I played it was to get context for 2, and it was fun. I give it like a 7. It's fine. I'm glad I'm done with it. Glad I moved on. Won't play it again. 2, I'm about 2 hours in.
Ooh.
Pretty blown away with it. So
oh my God.
Really liking it.
Do you suggest I go back and play 1, or should I just dive into 2?
Maybe watch a summary.
Ooh, that's a good tip. Thank you.
And then here we are. Let's get into games that we both played really quick.
Oh yeah.
Shadow the Erdtree. Do we have anything to say?
What more can we add?
We haven't had a podcast since it came out.
Man, a lot to think about.
I know it's not like the most recent thing in our minds, but
Oh, it's recent in my mind because I played it on 3 platforms. You don't forget that. You don't. I think there should have been achievements.
yeah, sure.
I think a lot of very iconic bosses that have huge lore implications deserved cutscenes.
Deserved a little bit more.
Cutscenes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, some of the people that didn't get cutscenes. I mean, they nailed the Mesmer cutscene. I think it's a incredibly realized, awesome character. I don't know, people like, what was the Scarlet Rot Scorpion lady?
I can't remember the name.
Whoever that was. Cutscene. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Would have made it so much more gravitas. I like the world a lot, but the verticality of it is something that's been discussed by a lot of people. It's not made in the same way that the main game is made.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of clumsy in that regard by comparison. I wanted a little more of the Elden Ring open worldness. And I mean, there is an open world feel to Shadow of the Erdtree, but so much of it is like, oh boy, I can't wait to go over there. How do I get there?
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'm gonna trace this path. It looks like I can trace this path and get up to this ravine or get down into this like chasm. I have to clear this whole legacy dungeon. Oh. Okay, well I'll go do something else. Okay, there's not much else to do like there was in Elden Ring. Oh, I'm being funneled really hard. I really loved it. Yeah. All that being said, I think I could get through almost every boss in the base game except Melania without co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can get through almost any of the DLC bosses without co-op. Seriously.
That's something I think that we've discussed before. Is like, to me, this is the absolute beyond the limit of what this style of game you can do.
Absolutely.
For him, like if you're gonna make another Souls-like Miyazaki-ass game,
it's a new game, basically.
You have to dial it back and just reassess what makes those games those games. You're gonna have to reinvent yourself, basically, because they've gotten more and more like big anime showdown.
Oh yeah, right? Yeah.
And you have pushed the limits of like
Prob's Consort. Excuse me.
You've pushed the limits beyond, I think, the limit of what the character and their actions that you as a player character can do. From like a grounded perspective, without you flying up and throwing a thunderbolt down, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So like to me, the next logical step is to strip it all back.
Is that what Night Rain is going to be?
no. I think they're buying.
That's a whole separate conversation.
They're buying time there.
Yeah.
I think the next logical step for a Miyazaki game is to strip everything back, just create a very dangerous and grounded world,
Like a Demon's Souls.
closer to Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Or Bloodborne, but I mean, I'm not saying that's going to be Bloodborne too, but
the
a game
thing-
like that.
Yeah, the thing that I really liked about Shadow of the Erdtree, though, is just the overall darkness and sense of danger. Like, it felt very, even compared to Elden Ring, it felt like I wasn't really sure what lurks behind every corner and, how creative they could get with the designs and stuff. So that was very exciting to me, very tantalizing.
I think the art design in a lot of Shadow of the Erdtree is a lot stronger than the base game.
Looking up at the tree and seeing those weird drapes falling
Yeah,
down, it's so weird.
It's so alien almost. It's like I'm really in a whole new world. Oh my god. I think a lot of the lore was pretty satisfying. Are you one of the people that got to the end and beat the final boss and were like, "That's it"? Well, there's a cutscene of him in a white room with a chair.
No, because it reminded me of Gale. It's not the final boss.
That's a great final boss.
Gale is
Gale is one of the best things I've ever seen. Also, a
Gale,
boss I could never do alone.
Well, I'll say Gale is the final boss of 3.
He's the final boss of Dark Souls.
But the DLC for Elden Ring is not necessarily the final part, even though it is logically
it's
the final
sort of
part.
a recontextualization of the base game, I feel like.
Yeah.
Instead of a sequel,
Yeah.
I feel like. What's your favorite boss?
Ooh, probably Mesmer. I think that would probably be it.
That's a very reasonable answer.
Although I do like the was it the Dancing Lion?
Oh,
I grew to really like that boss.
I like that more before I discovered it was like two dudes puppeting.
Oh, I like that. It's like a Chinese New Year thing.
I wanted it to be
almost.
some critter, you know? I
like
didn't
that
care for
aspect
that.
of it.
That's a great fight.
The soundtrack for that fight,
Oh, it's really amazing.
really good.
By the way, remind me to get you to watch this composer or orchestra guy break down Ludwig's theme.
Oh, please.
It's really good. I'm struggling to even remember his name right now after all this alcohol. Abyssal Wood boss.
Oh, it starts with an M, right? Mizra, something like that.
Midra.
He was good.
I think that's the best boss in the DLC.
That seems to be a very common opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. People complain about that area being empty, but I mean, they literally call it the Abyssal Woods. I think that's one of the strongest parts of the DLC, along with the Finger Ruins. I think the quest to get to Metter might be my true favorite.
Yeah, I'd say that just the whole journey for that is really strong.
And just meeting the guy.
Also, great boss soundtrack for Metter, yeah.
The guy in the cathedral, too, getting to fight him after, and he's birthing fingers out of his chest. I think Metter might actually be the best for me.
Dark horse for me, for sure. Okay, so Shadow of the Erdtree, we're done there, right?
Yeah. I hope there's another DLC.
We should talk about Backrooms a little bit, right? I thought that was such a fun little pick. I'm glad we played that.
I like playing it with you guys.
I think that was a great 3 hours.
What I didn't like is, I don't know, there was a certain, it didn't matter how well you played it. There was so much luck involved.
Okay.
Sort of like with a match of Mario Kart. You can do so well and just get fucked.
I guess, but I think that's
In
kind
the
of
end.
the strength of the 4-player component of it.
Especially that last mission. It was such
just running?
It was just such luck of the draw. Am I going to find the right item? Where is it? Oh, he got lucky. He found it. But I will say this. I knew it was going to be Daniel. I knew every step of the way Daniel was going to be the one who actually beats this shit. A lot of good features.
I just know that there were so many moments where my neighbors were like, Jesus, what is happening? Because, there are a lot of moments.
Recording an OnlyFans again.
There were a lot of moments of genuine panic where it was like, "Hey, just get out of the fucking way!"
I think it's a much better iteration of what's that game? Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia.
I think it's a graduate level version of that game.
Worth saying that there is proximity chat if you leave the Discord, obviously, and so like if someone dies, they're just gone.
But they get to spectate what's going on and
if
hear the dialogue.
Someone's too far away, you can't hear them. You can hear them.
The whistle is so
closer.
fun.
Yeah,
just walk around.
Well, that was a fun.
I think
experience.
that level with the how do you even describe it? All the black and white
light art?
dots, the light art. That was transcendent.
I have never seen anything like that in a game.
I have not either. That was. I remember when I first loaded into it. You guys were like, oh. And I was like, what do you do? What do you do?
It took me a few minutes.
Like, what the fuck do you even do?
Because I was just clicking.
Well, I was playing on a gamepad. And I was sitting there like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Press T. What do you mean? And I couldn't find a button to hold down that would make that stuff come out. So I had to pick up my keyboard, and I was holding my controller to navigate while I'm like holding down the mouse and moving with this. And I was just like, this is crazy.
It was.
Oh, out of 10, I would probably give that about a 7.5.
I gave it an 8
for
the group experience.
For an indie game like that, especially for a property that I am very fond of, and I'll just say it, I found first. Golly, it was really good.
Yeah.
It was
Awesome
fucking
little experience
good.
That was. I'm glad we did it. What else? I feel like I should save one of them.
What are next?
I need to save one of them for you. I think that's... for me, Stalker 2 is the big one.
Oh, tell me about Stalker 2. You've been playing that game like a motherfucker.
I
saw that orb.
I think that's my game of the year.
Oh, are you done with it?
No, that's...
Oh, he's announcing game of the year, and he's not even done with it, bro.
So, and this will segue nicely. I think Indiana Jones was my game of the year up until I really dove into Stalker. And that's tough because I really liked Indiana Jones, and it was a neat little package. Stalker is not a neat little package. It is really big and it has a lot of problems, but I'm so sucked in the world, unlike anything I've played in a while.
They want to get into there so bad. Sorry, I blocked the cats from going into my closet because it's like their holy site. I gotta get into Indiana Jones.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, I'm not always a fan of the stealth. Because it'll be something like, okay, we've had 2 hours of you playing this game. And you're going into Nazi encampments where there's like 2 or 3 dudes. And then we'll just throw you this one little okay, there's like 20 dudes.
Yeah, true.
And I'm just sitting there like, I've been getting babied by this game, and suddenly how the fuck do I even get in here? Okay,
Are you talking about like the excavation site?
Yes.
I knew
God, that was annoying.
There were a few parts in that where I had to reload. Especially, there was a part where I was going up the elevator.
Oh,
everyone was
like, dude, I hated that.
Yeah. I started throwing guitars at them and stuff. I just had to run at some point.
The strategy that I found, which I'm sure a number of people found, was when you have something like that excavation site, you just start picking shit up and throwing it, lure them out, lure them far, let them see you a little bit so they start pursuing. All right, killed. All right, that's one body. Do it 10 more times. All right, you got a stack of bodies here. And
see, I didn't even do that. I just hit I hit one of the guys in the back of the head with a pipe or something, and then I just ran.
Yeah, I was about to say. And then there were moments in similar situations like that where I'd meticulously start eliminating people, and I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't have time for this. It's fucking 3 a.m. I'm just going to fucking see if I can gun it through here, and it worked.
Yeah.
The variability of play experience is a lot. It's even wider than, Metal Gear Solid 5. There are so many more ways to approach this, I feel like, which I'm sure some people who play that game would disagree. But one of my big gripes actually has to do with Gina.
Why?
I told you.
Okay, I'm curious about this.
It's the same thing. It's the same problem I had with. This is a design flaw. It's not a writing flaw.
She will be in clear view of someone that's looking for you.
Oh no. It's the same problem I had with the penguin when he strangled Victor.
Oh.
She'll just look like she's smiling.
I've not noticed this.
A lot. It'll be I remember in the Vatican, when you first meet her, you walk out there and you're talking to her, and she's just got what looked to me, I interpreted it as just this shit-eating grin. She's like looking out onto like you're on a balcony, and she's like looking out onto like a clearing of some kind, like a courtyard.
Yeah.
And like Indy's talking to her like, "Who are you? What are you doing? Are you a journalist?" And she's just like, sorry, I'm grinning like Tim Heidecker would, and I'm just like, what's going on with this facial animation?
I didn't pick up on that at all.
I think the facial like capture and animation for Troy Baker playing Indy, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it's really good.
But most of the characters around him seem really half-baked to me. Voss is an exception.
Voss is great.
His friend at the Vatican is an exception.
Oh, yeah.
Voss's little henchman that he converts really easily is an exception. Gina looked like shit. And this is not... Daniel. This is not am I attracted to this character problem. Daniel.
I didn't pick up on that. I like Gina.
I feel like her facial animations were bizarre.
Oh, man.
And like I feel like sometimes they were trying to make her smile wryly, but she just looked kind of like mentally handicapped.
I didn't pick up on this.
I hated her character design. Her face. I like her face sucked. Like just something was off, and it always looked like Indiana Jones would be like, "All right, we got to track down Voss. Voss is he'll be taking this crazy blimp across the Himalayas, and his Nazis are going to be hanging on by like a rope, and we got to shoot them down." And Gina's just like, just kind of grinning and looking around. Like, what is this?
I was just...
They fucked up her character. It was a well-written character. Her dialogue was good, but the fact that those facial animations were so strange to me, is every time she's on the screen, it's like, I can't take this character seriously because they completely dropped the ball on her facial animations.
Maybe I just looked completely past it.
It may just be a me thing. Maybe I have a facial recognition problem, but I hate it.
I really loved her character the whole way through. I had no problem with anything that I saw. So
Gina.
Maybe it's on my end, but
I just fought this giant, and he almost killed me. Indy, that's crazy. That's nuts. What happened? Is my game glitching out?
Where are you? Maybe it is. Where are you in the game?
Oh, it's been a few days.
Are you in the Himalayas still?
No, I'm in that water village.
Oh, you're in
and
Thailand.
I've been on the boat.
You went to China, too.
I just stole Voss's gold reserve.
Yes.
That's where I'm
You did
at.
the China sequence
Yeah.
then.
Well, that was not long at all. That was the plane sequence,
No,
right?
That was cool.
That was really cool.
Like the Raiders of the Lost Ark homage where the guy with the katanas coming at you, you just shoot him.
Yeah. So I don't know how close to the end I am, but I feel like I'm getting there. I'm like 85% probably. I have loved the game. I think it's one of the best blockbuster video games I've played in a very long time. But not Game of the Year material due to Wukong.
Yeah. That's what I figured you would segue this into.
It's the kind of thing that, when you say it in a crowd, there's going to be a lot of sighs. And everybody knows the like contentious nature of Wukong.
What do you mean?
It's a game that has a lot of problems. World design is bad. Boss rush, constant. Really bad hitboxes sometimes. The shit where your spellcasting gets canceled out is an enormous problem. But I felt that the boss design and the world was charming, extremely unique, like a game I've never seen before, and it just kept topping itself over and over and over and over. And the variability of how you can approach a boss. Like, okay, let's say, all right, there's a boss, chapter, it's been a while, 3 or 4, called, I think he's like the Scorpion Lord, and it's a really tough boss. And he has this entire phase where he turns golden and becomes almost impossible to beat, but you can still beat him if you know what you're doing and you're good enough. But there's also this item that's hidden behind all these obscure side quests called the Weaver's Needle. And if you get that item, he can't go into that phase.
See, that was like that rat guy with the head he was holding.
Yep.
There's also an item for him, too.
Yep. I think it's a game that you need to be very informed about. I think it's a game that you shouldn't be ashamed to work with a guide
I think
about.
that's to its detriment.
Yeah, it doesn't always spell out how you get a key item very well.
A key item, specifically.
Yeah.
It's not like, I was going to say Gurman, or Gascoigne's music box.
Yeah, that's stupid. Who cares?
Like,
That's not essential.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
But I mean, all that being said, I just fell in love with that game. I don't have a lot to say about it. I've said a lot to you about it, which is probably why. But that's definitely my game of the year. Extremely unique game, extremely weird game, very mixed bag of good and bad. But I was just so charmed, and I was so into it, and I was so compelled, and I just loved it.
I think I'm near the end of chapter 3, I believe.
Well, you finally beat that horrible Kaijin Star or whatever.
Yeah, that was tough.
And you finally got to meet Pig Boy, right?
Yeah, I met the Zodiac.
He was in the
Village.
Big Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like the characters have a lot of character.
Yeah, I would say my chief complaint would be the level design is just very restrictive and not intuitive. Like, it's weirdly restrictive, but yet you can get lost.
Yes.
Which is, like, so odd.
Mixed bag.
And then the other thing would be just the inconsistency. I'm not even going to say, like, the hitboxes, but just the inconsistency with, like...
It's not Dark Souls 2.
I'm not registering what is going to hit me. It's not as obvious, which it should be with such a precision dodging mechanic.
You kind of just have to learn from letting the game kill you a bunch.
And then that's what feeds into the fact that, like, you can set off a spell or whatever it's called, and if you get hit in, like, the second that you are casting it, it takes the mana away from you and the ability, but it doesn't cast.
And at that point, you're fucked and might as well restart.
You might as well
just
restart.
kill me. Just kill me now.
Exactly.
Also,
there's some simple quality of life improvements, such as that would make that game so much more tolerable in its worst moments.
well, I've got a big one. Delete the entire Pagoda Realm. Delete Hell.
Yeah, sure.
That sucked. That was horrible. So like I said,
but the world design and the characters are fascinating.
they are.
Really into it. I saved this clip. It's in chapter 3 after you beat that whatever star person
The lady.
is. Yeah. You fight that, like, dragon in the lake in the snowy area. This is right before the Zodiac Village.
Yeah.
And you whip his ass.
He's pretty
and he's just
easy.
like, oh, I will die. Oh, no, have mercy. That just cracked me up. That was so
I was
funny.
just really compelled by the characters. Like, the big baby bosses. There's the one in the first chapter.
With the big old heads?
Yeah, and then there's the yellow one that's like, I think, well, it's not required, but you're stupid if you don't do it. All that stuff about the Kasayas. I think I told you, as goofy of a character as it was, I was so compelled that he was dying, and he was like, oh, 400 years! Oh, I just need one more Kasaya! Ah! Like, I was just like, oh, it's so, I welled up. I was like, oh, this is wonderful. And like the fox dog character, the one that gives you like pills and stuff, is so good. Oh man, it's a very zany, out there game. Oh man, but I get why that's why I kind of talk about it in hushed tones now. Like, I get why so many gamers who really know their shit about this game would just
but
be
who
like,
cares?
that
If it's
thing.
what you like, then
Yeah, I just could not get enough. I loved it to death.
Similarly, Stalker 2 has a lot of fucking problems technically, and it's taking my 4070 graphics card, which is brand new, to the fucking limit.
Well, I've got a 2080 in my old PC, and Wukong pushed it.
Yeah.
Wukong made some... Well, first it didn't help that I installed it on my D drive, which was not smart. As soon as I realized, oh, let's try this on the C drive, I was like, oh my god, the game just runs perfectly now! So, like, the first half of that game, I played like it was dog shit. It was horrible.
So I want to give a moment to where I thought, like, okay, I'm hitting on all cylinders with this game. Stalker 2, to me, is like, I kind of got the flow of it, where it's very logical. It's a 24-hour cycle. Everyone has their own path. It's, they have their own
like Dying Light.
smart AI or whatever. But, when the sun sets, that's when things get pretty dicey. Like
Also like Dying Light.
bandits come out, stuff like that. So, ideally, this is all like you planning. It's not the game telling you to do this.
Yeah.
Ideally, get to a safe space, plan your day out. You have a very limited capacity for carrying stuff. Take the gun you like, take the bullets you like, take a few because you can't carry that much. Go out for the day, find what you can, come back home, sell it, do whatever you can to progress. Just love that cycle, the danger of it, the fact that it's very uncompromising and very like, if you get shot once, you're bleeding. You got to bandage it up. Things like that. It just adds to the atmosphere. I think when things really started to click is when I was really having a hard time getting back to like a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
I got back and went like underground to this bunker to where a bed was. And there's a radio playing, and it's just like this Ukrainian like Soviet pop sounding
hell
song,
yeah.
and I was just like, I'm back. Like it just felt so
Daddy's
good.
home.
It was just like a movie moment. It was just so natural too, because it's not like it was scripted, and that's what I like when things come together like that. But you know, in a similar vein to Black Myth Wukong, it has a lot of technical oddities, and it will be worked on similarly to Cyberpunk.
Yeah, of course.
In a year or so, this game will be amazing. But even with that said, I look past it because I just love the world. I just love the interaction
I mean,
so
isn't it nice
much.
to say I was here from the start,
Yeah,
even through the
it's
bugs and
awesome.
stuff and the weirdness.
Love it to death. Been playing
Love
it
it a bit.
nonstop.
Want to kiss it on the lips. Want to kiss it on the orb.
So we both have controversial picks, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. People get mad about like Wukong being like Game of the Year because I mean, remember the Game Awards thing? There was so much controversy
They even
over that.
included on the list of like
Yeah,
nominees?
it was on Game of the Year.
They did? Okay.
But obviously losing out to Astrobots, very strange decision. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a great game. I played a good bit of the first one, but like, geez, you got these titans, these juggernauts next to you, and you get a nice little game, just nice, fun little platformer, very
Yeah.
bright and fun Sony showcase. A Bloodborne character in there. You know that?
Think about that.
Yeah, a Bloodborne character.
It means a new one's coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think let me check my list and see what else I might have that I can just rattle off. I've had Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I don't know what's wrong with me. Can't seem to make myself play it, but I will. I've been saying that for months.
You don't want to fuck Zelda.
Stop it. Skull and Bones came out in 2024.
Is this something you like have played?
I was a beta insider.
I know. I was here for it.
That's one of the worst video games I've ever experienced in my entire life.
It was weird.
What's the point?
It was oddly bad.
It's the ultimate. It's sort of like the breaking point of the Acolyte with Disney, but with Ubisoft. Not insofar as like weird casting, blah blah blah. Just like you've literally released the worst thing you've ever put out, and
pushing it out the door.
No one wants it.
Yeah,
it's awful. Another Crab's Treasure.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I got about 0.5% of the way into that and fell off.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Didn't help that I bought it on Switch, even though it's on Game Pass now. Whatever. Probably not that great of a game.
Gimmick.
We'll see. Me and Daniel have been playing Dark Souls 2.
What a terrible, no good thing.
I just hope by the end of it, he's willing to say, Graffiti has joined us and is about to lay down on Chris's copy of Blood Meridian. And there it goes.
Shit and mud and
Yep. Go ahead and lay down on that. Just lay down on that blood-soaked nightmare. Oh, he might start reading it, actually.
He might just run away from it.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's kind of an idiot.
It is kind of like a cursed object.
What is he
like
doing?
Like a book you open up and like a shadow.
A terrible object! Why would you have this?
Bastard book.
Like I've rattled off with Daniel a million times, it's a rite of passage if you're a Souls head. I don't think he's a Souls head like we are, but he's a willing participant. And I'd say we're about 40% of it, 40% of the way into it, minus the DLC. DLC makes it more like 25% of the way into it.
Oh,
And
it's hard to watch, man. And I played this fucking game.
it's a terrible fun game. And it's a
terrible bad game.
terribly bad game at the same time. I think there is a lot of merit to it and very little merit to it. It's a weird combo. I think it deserves to exist. I know you probably disagree. And I do preen a little enjoyment out of it around the edges. But it is really nice to suffer through it with Daniel. And I'm very interested to see how things start to go once we get good, which we are on the cusp of getting good. We got nearly maxed out claymores, high levels, good armor shields. We are ready to take this thing on.
My heart grows fuller every time he goes, fuck this.
He never says it that quietly. He's more like, fuck this! Which is a totally reasonable reaction. And I do fear we will beat the base game and the DLC will break him. And I mean it.
We got to give it a few tries at least.
Well, by that point, you will be in the mix because your character,
fuck.
we may exceed your character's level even. But yeah, things are tough in Drain Lake, and I'm glad to be suffering through it with somebody else. I mean, I enjoyed it with you, but it's just so nice to be back. For me, I know I'm a sicko. You're talking to the guy who watches Terrifier movies for like escapism and fun in the middle of the night.
That's
over and over.
That's way better. Oh, sorry.
My God. I think we're done with games. Can you believe it? And we are approaching 3 hours in minus future edits that may bring it down to 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yep.
Let's see what else I have. I have a few loose topics, and then we need to get into music picks.
Yep.
I've really enjoyed Let Me Solo Her as a great new Souls streamer. He's currently on the Dark Souls 2 DLC. And
that has broken him, correct?
Yeah. Well, he said it's been a really good game, but it's the worst of the lot, which is about the most reasonable thing I could say about it. Chris, how did you get into Hassan Piker?
I don't
Hasanabi.
I don't know if I have like a specific moment in time where I can capture. This is yours, you ass.
No, I gotta drink my blue steel.
I'll take it if you don't want it.
Kind of sounded like that frog from Coyote Peterson. Oh,
Man, that frog threw his head back in ecstasy and moaned.
Oh. We'll insert that somewhere here. I'll get the actual audio.
Now, I'm not hurting the frog in any way whatsoever. You see, it's puffing up its body. He's like a balloon right now. Yes, I know, but have you not figured out that you've already been captured? Yeah?
I don't know if there's like a specific, I can pinpoint a time where I was like, I gotta watch Hassan Piker. I think I was just kind of.
I talked about him for a long time, didn't I? Before you got into him?
Yeah. And I knew about him. Like, it's hard to avoid.
Oh, he's all over.
I think I was just looking for like an outlet to like kind of reinforce the way I've been feeling lately. And he did that for me.
I'll do it.
He did that for me. So that's all it is.
It's what you've heard me talk about ad nauseum. I need the angry left.
Yeah.
I need the left to keep their policies, but act like the right. Their fury, their hatred. None of this, oh, we're all fine. Everything's nice. Oh, we're so nice.
I think my favorite example is that is when Hassan is just like, put them in re-education camps. And the whole chat is just like, dude, that's crazy. Like, dude, that's too far. He's just like, God, you don't get it.
Don't fucking get it, dude. Don't fucking get it. I'm going to go work out.
Also, just calling fucking rednecks hogs is so funny. That's the thing that sold me.
Hogwatch.
Hogwatch.
My only real criticism with him is, I mean, obviously, he's the type of guy that's like, we deserve 9/11. So if you can't
That's half a joke.
if you can't handle that from the get-go, get the fuck out.
It's a half a joke, and it has like its seeds that he planted are in like the idea that America has fucked up and destabilized so many countries. Mm-hmm. He's not saying all those people deserve to die. That's not the point.
Daniel.
Why did I start watching him on YouTube?
Daniel has, in the same way he got into Red Letter Media, started to trickle into Hassan Piker. I love it. I fucking love it. Why is he so, like, cautious about some of the shit we're into? It's this weird, I don't know if it's a bit or if it's real.
It's not a bit. I understand its cautious, like, approach, because if you remember, I exposed you to Bloodborne.
It's true.
I exposed you to Mega 64.
Oh, remember when I was doing this isn't scary.
Yes.
This is dumb. This is stupid.
So, you can't blame the guy. He'll get there.
I wanted to touch on something as the resident sole banner carrier throughout my life of heavy metal.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Soul's banner carrier.
Oh, no, that's you.
We can make
hopefully
an
the future
argument for,
generation-
like, a dual heralding the flag kind of situation.
Hopefully the future generation will be Kenyatta teaching people like we have.
Sure.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I think you're going to say Carter.
Jimmy Kimmel. That's what I think of when I think metal.
Oh, yeah.
Something happened this year. Did you see that?
I'm trying. Don't spoil it.
Something big happened.
Don't spoil it. I want to...
We're going to play it.
To the best of my ability, remember the fucking name of this band. I think it's something like Gut Punch or like throat punch. It's something like that. What is it?
Knocked loose.
Okay, I was on the right track.
I remember back in the day when I was in my scene phase in college.
Knocked Loose is like a great hardcore name.
It is. A really good name. I remember back in college when I was in my scene phase. I'll admit it, since we're 3 hours into this, I liked Asking Alexandria. One of the worst bands to ever be associated with anything metal. Ever.
Didn't we go to a concert in Birmingham where they were the lead of the night and we left before they came on? No? That was Whitechapel.
Yeah, Whitechapel.
Sorry, okay.
Which I still have a torn up poster with them as the headliner.
What a day.
They're just boring death metal / deathcore. I remember Asking Alexandria, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, performed, and it was just me just like, I can't wait to see people scream on cable TV. That's going to be neat, Chris. Telling you this.
I'm watching a hog now.
I didn't know much about Knocked Loose. I was vaguely aware of what they were, their sound, and they're an interesting, fun little band. But the problem is, I really like what they got going on, but their vocalist is a little shrieky and bitchy.
He sounds like the Devil Wears Prada guy after he blew out his voice.
Oh, so you did listen to this?
He sounds exactly like that guy.
He does.
That guy lost his voice, and he sounded like that.
Didn't he blow his vocal box?
Totally, and he
sort of
started to sound like that.
The Avenged Sevenfold
Where it
guy.
sounds like it's coming from here.
Basically, it's like, okay, so they are a hardcore band, but I think they kind of take more from the metal playbook as far as heaviness goes. But it's like a 10-year-old boy is just shrieking about not getting a toy at Target over these like intensely deep, down-tuned, pitch-shifted guitars. And this little lady named Poppy came on stage during the Jimmy Kimmel performance. Did you see her?
Yeah. Let that play for a bit. It's a little squeaky.
Very squeaky. Wait till she starts, though.
Who are the people at Jimmy Kimmel going fucking nuts?
Look at that guy's fat ass hanging out. Hell yeah.
Wow. Woo.
So, while I don't really care for the band, whenever I see this kind of thing, especially in 2024, when, like, I would say a big portion of Americans, especially Gen Z, shrivel up and die when they hear live instruments.
Well, not only that, I was going to say, I brought this up recently, but we are in a new era of satanic panic.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It's weird.
So I really appreciate, even if they probably don't play much of it, they probably play like the first 30 seconds as credits go. Because that's what happened with Asking Alexandria. They're like, all right, here's Asking Alexandria, new album, whatever, and they just pivot, and it's just like them warming up and getting ready, and then a breakdown happens and they cut. I figure it was the same thing, but so many people were so offended and said, "This scared my child. This is wrong. What are you doing?" And it just like, Jimmy Kimmel's team takes a chance, and look what happens. And obviously the metal world was just like, "Bravo, dude, this is sick." But it's just worth noting as a 2024 event.
It's cool. Yeah.
Okay, just a quick little side story. My little VCR back here. It still turns on and works perfectly well as a conduit to powering the cable, the dish box I have plugged into it, but it eats up tapes immediately, and I need to crack it open and see what's going on with the heads. But I ordered drunkenly, as I often do. You go on eBay and actually drunken online shopping is a whole different topic. You wake up weeks later to get something and be like, oh, fuck. What am I going to do with this? Like the Joe Biden portrait.
But when you're doing it, it's like, I need that.
You're just like, this is sick. Click. $80,000. No. So I got on eBay one night, and I just blindly ordered the first reasonably priced VCR I could find. I didn't look at what inputs, outputs, what kind of connectors it had, any of that stuff. And so when I got the fucking thing, I was like, oh, wow, this thing looks almost new. This thing is sick. What's this on the back? What are these connectors? It had inputs and outputs I couldn't even recognize. And so I used Google Lens and took a picture of it, and I got all this different shit. And I was like, well, none of this makes sense. So I used Reddit for one of the best reasons anyone can use Reddit. Identifying VHS technology. What the fuck is this? And man, for the first time in my life, I was happy I was on Reddit, because I really don't use it very much. I don't even lurk on Reddit hardly ever.
It's a great habit to, if you have a very specific question, type the question in Google and put Reddit at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get something. You'll get someone at least that's going through the same thing as you, if not an answer.
So I found r/VHS, unbelievably cool channel. So sick. Just all these people jazzed about VHS tapes. And it's like, look what I found, dude. It's fucking Back to the Future 2, and I got it for 30 cents at a yard sale. Oh my God, it works. And some guy named Burger Pope responded to my request of what are these connectors? What the fuck is this? And immediately was like, dude, those are BNC connectors. And he expounded without me asking. He was like, what's curious about this subject? It was like a doctor breaking down a medical problem with all these extra details. He was like, commonly the BNC connectors were more associated with surveillance technology and security booths where you would use a constantly running VCR. And these things are a professional grade series, and they were designed to run continuously. So it's a really solid VCR. And I'm just sitting here I didn't even pay for this, and I just got the best analysis I've seen in ages. What a nice guy this is. This is wonderful. And I was so happy. And it is a weird VCR. And I did a little more research on it, and sure enough, exclusively associated with surveillance technology.
What is it? What's the brand?
Oh, God. It's right next to you. What is it?
Oh. This guy?
Yeah, you can move it around. Don't be afraid. It's not going to break anything.
Let's see.
It's Professional Series something.
It's Sharp. Professional Series. Yeah.
And I did more and more research on it, and yeah, this was a fucking asset protection device. And I was just like, what a cool little journey I went on from a drunken mistake.
Yeah.
What a fun little bit. That's all I have to say about that. Oh, God, I sound like Forrest Gump. That's all I have to say about that.
You might get that on VHS.
I already have it.
Oh.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the TikTok ban.
Why?
It's actually going to come up to the wire the day you're returning, 19th.
Doesn't affect me.
But what I wanted to talk about with it is, obviously, I'm excited. Because it's well documented on this channel that I hate usually whatever the most popular thing is. And that boils down to everything, including social media. And I do, so much of what the government thinks is, this is a national security risk. This is bad. It's going to have the children reacting with those pandas soon. And I was all on board. And one of the few things I counted on was, you know what? I hate Donald Trump. I hate him. But Donald Trump is the most anti-China motherfucker on the face of the planet. No! I want to save TikTok. We're going to make sure it doesn't get banned. Barron Trump, hugely important to my campaign.
He watches all of Hassan Piker's
He
stuff.
told me, go on TikTok, look up Hassan Abi, check out the hogs.
He might be Hassan the Hun there.
I don't know what a Hun is. I was absent that day in class.
Bad hombres.
Long story short, Trump failed me for the one thing I counted on him for.
Oh, get used to it.
He wants to save TikTok. It's
Mr.
the most.
Beast will buy it.
It's the. Oh God, Elon or him. Oh God. So I'm sitting here thinking, this sucks, but I hope it goes through. I hope all these little bitches have to fucking open up their shit and you cannot access this. Sort of like the Pornhub thing when you try to type that in here. Your legislators, blah blah blah.
Is that happening here still?
Yeah. I'll show you in a minute.
It works here
with a VPN.
No, if you open up test it.
No, you can't access it.
I haven't seen this
It'll
before.
say, "Dear Alabama resident, please call up."
But I
your
haven't seen
supervisors."
this before. Oh, what? Hold on.
Read it.
Oh my God! I've never seen this before.
Welcome to the jungle, baby.
It's location specific too.
Just
Dear-
get a VPN.
Yeah, but like that's still like I've never seen. Wow. As you may know, your elected officials in Alabama are requiring us to verify your age before. Yeah. Wow. I've never seen this screen before.
Pretty wild, huh?
I'm gonna send this to the
I'm
group.
glad you segued into that.
Wow.
You're doing your own hog watch over there for your own hog. I look down. I love it. But here's my fear. Have you ever heard of Red Note?
Yeah.
The Daily Show just did a bit, I think, yesterday about what's going to happen. They're going to ban TikTok, and everyone will gravitate towards a genuine state-run propaganda device.
Yeah.
And they showed all. I don't even know if they were all real or jokes. They showed all these indoctrinated people that were like, I didn't know Chinese culture was that neat. The communist tenets are really actually pretty attractive, and they're wonderful. And I'm sitting there thinking,
I like all this 18-year-olds are like, dude, Tiananmen Square did not happen.
yes, it's that kind of stuff.
That is so fucking balls to the
It's
wall.
a capitalist conspiracy device. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh God, they're actually gonna turn a generation. I was smoking weed when I was thinking about this. They're gonna turn a whole generation of this country over to China, and China's just gonna take over. And then I'm also thinking, oh well, the government will quickly catch up on that and ban that too. But at the same time, I'm like, what if they just don't try to get that banned, and the whole country just starts to turn into a Chinese proxy, and they just move in and take over, and everyone dies, or it gets put into camps? What do you think?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother! I love Xi Jinping! So yeah, that's my new fear. We should probably watch that Daily Show bit a little bit later. It's hilarious. I don't often say non-Jon Stewart things are hilarious, even though last year as he's come, I'm so sick. Are you sick of that yet? The new year is like this year. Oh, it's not 2024
When
anymore.
I think last year, I think like 7 to 12 months.
Oh boy. Okay.
Not 2.
I'm glad I'm thinking about Jon Stewart. I've always loved Jon Stewart. Like he was this infallible, perfect creature. But I mean, as he's come back to the Daily Show, Mondays only, as you may know, there is so much of just wildfires.
Yeah.
Getting sick of his shit. I used to seriously think he was the best. He's hammy as fuck now. Or maybe he was always hammy and I just didn't buy it.
Oh, when he really gets
Or
into
not
the
bad.
weeds with people and interviews them, he is relentless, and that's some of his best
Especially
stuff.
Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah,
The Bill O'Reilly debates are the finest thing Jon Stewart has ever done.
I'll have to pull it up later, but he gets into a gun control debate with an Oklahoma elected representative or whatever, and he
God.
just fucking destroys. I mean, of course, from my perspective, he just destroys him relentlessly. No jokes at all.
I have to change subjects.
Okay.
I want to have a moment of honesty with you about how I am sometimes when I'm typing conversation points up. I have a note in here about something we've already covered that I didn't mention when we first covered it, but I'm going to read it now. Bullet point. Tell me of your obligatory European travels and how proud you are of such conquests. In parentheses, wow, that's a nasty pointed one. I needed to get that off my chest.
I don't know, dude. I'm thinking about the Pornhub ban.
What do you think about me just saying that your travels are obligatory?
You should try it.
Check out what I did. Check out what I don't actually think that, but
I'm one of those bimbos that goes to.
he's a Europe bitch whore.
I go to LA and take a picture of something and throw it away.
The Ariana Grande tea or whatever the fuck it is.
It's the Lizzo banana. I got that and took a picture of it. I was like, I'll let you know I have this.
You know what I think it honestly is? It's about handling of these conversations. Like, if for weeks and weeks, okay, let's say you were me. All right, Jay's going to fly to Hungary for weeks and weeks and weeks. Guys, I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm going to Hungary. I'm going to be in Hungary soon. What should I get in Hungary? What do you think about this? I'm going to go to this video store in Hungary. What about this thrift shop? And you're just like, oh, no, I'm just over there. I think it's the carpet being yanked from under me aspect of it where I'm like, fuck this guy.
Well,
This globetrotting bitch.
it's because you say, like, are you guys going to be on Wednesday or Thursday? I'm like, I won't be here. That's where it all comes from.
No, I just feel like I get blindsided sometimes. I'm just like, oh, I'm in Paris now.
Who cares? What do you have?
It's like, well, why didn't you tell me for a couple days?
What do I owe you for?
Well, because I would do that. Everyone thinks in their own shoes, I feel like.
See, what would piss me off, actually, is if you did go somewhere like that and didn't tell me, I'd be like, well, why didn't you tell me? I'd be there with you.
It'd be the first time I could say, welcome to my world. That was a really menacing laugh.
Jesus has asked me before. He was just like, if Daniel showed up in Germany one day and took a picture on his stories and you didn't know, I'd be fucking furious.
So why do you do this? Why do you not just be like, hey guys, in a couple weeks I'm going here?
Because I would want to show him around and what, like, I know.
He can't go.
Huh?
But he can't go.
What do you mean he can't?
You said show him around. Like, are you taking him? I missed the whole point. What? I'm fucking up. I'm fucking up in the free world. How raw are your lungs right now?
It's okay. My point is that I've been, like, dying to have him go and, like, for me to show him around. And if he went without me knowing, it'd be, like, so heartbreaking.
Carpet yank.
It'd be like if I came here and didn't let you know. It'd be like, what? Why?
It's like that thing I told my parents last year when you came here, whenever you came here last night. I was just like, he came all the way out and he didn't even tell his parents. Which is total bullshit. Bro didn't even tell his parents he was going to be a state over.
6 hours away.
What a shithead. Okay. Oh, God, we're both wheezing at this point. This has not been a big laugh one. You remember when, like, all of our podcasts were just... just, like, it was just that?
Yeah.
Like, even some of the early RJ3Ks. I'm not talking about the old channel. I feel like... I'm not saying we're above it. But I do feel like we've matured a whole lot. There are still some blowout podcasts that managed to slip in where we just had enough alcohol, where it was just a train wreck from the start. But I do feel like we've become a lot more put together.
Yeah.
Biden gave his farewell address yesterday.
Goodbye.
Is what he said. And
he fell asleep and hit his head on the back of the lazy boy.
it was like 18 minutes long of him trying to speak in pre-written metaphors. He was reading a teleprompter. I was watching his eye go like a typewriter.
I played Black Myth Wukong, Jack.
You know, that game, it's inconsistent. I got all these invisible walls, Jack. And, you know, I think that goddamn monkey is more powerful than he need to be. That was my Joe Biden. I don't know. It was really underwhelming, which I think underscores the entire administration. Voted for the man, believed in the man, hoped for the man, wanted Obama to. We've talked about this. It was a disaster. And I think we all were in agreement. Let's just not talk about it. Let's not talk about his mental health. Let's just not. I don't want to think about it. He's fine. He's fine. He'll vote for the right things. He's going to do the right thing. I still like old Joe, personally. I like the idea of Joe. I got a fucking picture of Joe Biden hanging in the guest bedroom Chris is staying in that I had to take down for Aunt Sarah when she came here.
Oh, no. Did she not know about it, or did she demand you take it down?
I put the Da Vinci, you know, that I don't know if you've seen it. What's the one where God's like reaching out to touch like the hand of like Michelangelo?
What's it? Adam's first touch, or
something like that. First touch.
Creation of man, or creation
something
of
like that. I've got this this framed portrait of it's a cat reaching out to God.
Was that no good either?
Well, I put that in place because I knew Sarah was coming, and when she came, she woke up in the middle of the night and caught me up in the middle of the night, and I was like, "Hey, check this out!"
Replacing the frame.
I got this photo of Joe Biden. What do you think of that? She hissed.
The cat or her?
Her.
Wait.
She mockingly.
Wait, you showed her in the middle of the night a photo?
Yeah, because she just woke up and caught me going to the bathroom. As
what
she
time
came back,
was this?
like 2 a.m.
Oh
and she like sat. Well, we hadn't seen each other because I worked that day, and she goes to bed at like 8. And she was just sitting in the office, and I was like, hold on a second. Let me show you something. And she goes,
Oh my God.
so Joe Biden is still probably die within weeks of leaving. I'm not hoping that.
I said within 3 years.
Or we'll be treated to like years of the Jimmy Carter like looking up like of just Joe Biden like in a chair facing upward like that. I think that's the future.
The Jimmy Carter experience.
Yeah.
JIMI.
The Jimmy Carter experience. So many podcast titles here. Well, no good podcast comes to an end without music picks.
That's correct.
I just did like a weird Pee Wee Herman thing. Do we want to like spin something to go first?
No,
or
you
second?
go first.
No, you go first. Fuck. Fuck. Shit. Do we want to do like first pick me?
Alternating,
Second
yeah.
pick pit. The second pit. Could you imagine?
You, me.
Okay. I struggled mightily. I told Chris in DMs, this has been the hardest. Every sequential podcast, it gets harder. When I was watching 1899, my rewatch with my good old parents, yeehaw! The alcohol's kicking in. Episode 2 or 3 ended with a song by a little band called Echo and the Bunnymen, The Killing Time. That's not my pick.
That was going to be my pick.
What, are you serious?
It was one of them.
There's no way. As they say at work, there ain't no way.
I have backups, don't worry. That's so funny.
There ain't no way.
I have a Picks 2024 playlist, even though that's mislabeled, but yeah, it's right there.
Well, what I said to
That's
myself
funny.
was, a lot of people know this song.
Yeah.
It's a really good song. It's
Killing-
like
The Killing
it's like,
Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
What I call it, the Killing Joke, like
Killing Time.
It reminds me of a Depeche Mode song.
Yep.
A little bit, especially the chorus where they had that kind of ghoulish quality to it. It's so good. And I said to myself, fuck, I can't choose The Killing Moon. Everyone knows this song.
I cannot believe you've arrived at this. This is going to be my pick, but I changed it.
We do this shit.
That is unbelievable.
We are fucking weird on the
I
wavelength.
just showed you my playlist.
I
You
know.
saw it
It's
there.
true. It's true. He's on Spotify. Pennies for your favorite artists. I've said it a million times before. Fuck Spotify. Never use Spotify. Just go on Google. They fuck people the same way for freer. And I was like, I need to figure out Echo and the Bunnymen.
I can't believe this.
There's got to be another song of this ilk that isn't their top song so I can look cool.
I'm glad you picked this because I had picked them and I had some audibles ready.
Oh my god.
So that's wow, unbelievable.
All right. This is a rare one. This is very rare. I have 2 real picks.
Okay.
But I'm introducing honorary pick.
Okay.
So 3 picks.
Okay.
It's gotten crazy.
Okay.
I don't think this song is a slam dunk, but I'm going to play it. I'm not going to include it in the podcast. I painfully searched for a secondary. You do?
Yeah.
Fuck
It's from
you.
the same album,
Fuck
right?
you. This is my honorary pick.
Okay.
Ocean Rain by Echo and the Bunnymen. So, I said to myself, I'm going to find a song like The Killing Moon
Okay.
that evokes that ghoulishness, but also catchy and impactful. All their music is like stupid ass, like new wave, upbeat bullshit.
That's what I found too.
And I'm just like, there's no way. And I landed on Ocean Rain. I was like, well, this kind of reminds me of like Moonlight by Dax Riggs. And it's also got a nautical theme. And it's got a couple kind of earwormy moments. And I was like, Chris will like this because it's nautical themed. And it tells a little ocean journey. And I was like, I can't stand behind this. That's why it can't be an official pick.
Okay.
But The Killing Moon is seriously
So that's our like joint pick. Is that what this is?
a 4th tier of music pick. You got honorary picks, joint picks, real picks. God damn.
All right. Where are we?
I'm going to play my first real pick.
Okay.
And this one came to me today as I was driving to Atlanta to pick Chris up, and I remember thinking to myself, no, this can't be it. And it's just sort of that thread in life of where sometimes the most obvious answer is right in front of you, and you're afraid to grab it. It's dangling, and it's like, no, get out of my way. No. Okay, so in Terrifier 3,
No.
there's a scene that I think is the most confident scene of the entire movie. I mentioned earlier that The Substance is an unbelievably confident movie. And it's almost intoxicating to watch how confident certain directors can be with their films. And my favorite scene from Terrifier 3 is when he pulls up to the dorm in that white van, that pedophile van. And as he's getting out of the van, he swings the door shut overly dramatically, and he's like, yeah, I'm about to go kill some people. This is probably my favorite cover, my favorite version of a modern interpretation of a Christmas song I've heard in years. This is God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen, performed by Quilted Lunchbox, but they call it God Rest Ye Scary Gentlemen. Featuring
the Christmas cast.
Yes.
Late, but yes.
I'm keeping the Christmas theme going. Featuring Tinny Rain.
Save us all from Satan's power. Save us all from Satan's power. Save us all from Satan's power. Ooh. God rest ye merry gentlemen. Let nothing you dismay. Remember Christ our Savior was born on Christmas Day to save us all from Satan's power when we have gone astray. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy, comfort and joy. Oh, tidings of comfort and joy. Save us all from Satan's power. Save us all from Satan's power. Ooh.
Woo!
Are those the original lyrics, too?
Yeah.
They say, save us all from Satan's power in that song?
They focus on this in this version. It's
Okay.
like one line in the song.
Okay. That's like kind of cool to acknowledge, like, dude, he's like sick and powerful.
Well, yes. Well, like one of the things I like about Terrifier 3 a lot is it employs a lot of traditional Christmas music. It's not just like Mariah Carey and like sort of pop holiday music. It's actual
Imagine
stuff.
if he just killed her on stage.
Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
I'd pay for that. No, I'm not one of those people that's just like, oh, here comes Mariah. That whole meme.
I think that'd be sweet.
I think it's a great Christmas song she did. I don't get why people are so fatigued by it. I think it's really good. Anyway, Terrifier 3 doesn't feature any pop Christmas music. It's all stuff that like says Christ, our Savior,
Okay, yeah.
Lord. It's
like public domain, like folksy.
fully
like,
religious.
Yeah.
Not just like your sanitized Christmas music.
Yeah.
It's not Rudolph,
Target shopping, like.
Yeah, and that to me indicates a very conservative upbringing in this person.
Maybe.
Or an inherent understanding of what needs to happen in the film that features so many religious aspects. And for someone like me who was raised very religiously and has lived in a increasingly religious household for most of his life, it's just like, this is a love letter to Christmas. This is the perfect, like, this guy gets it. And I just thought, they start with save us all from Satan's power like 4 or 5 times, and they go, ooh. I thought it had a lot of emotion to it. It was pretty dark and kind of atmospheric, and I don't know who Quilted Lunchbox is, or Tinny Rain featured on this, but I love this God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. And I told you, you're part of my extending Christmas, and so it had to be included.
Yeah, thank you for including that. I feel in the spirit now.
Now, what you got?
I'm going to send it to you on Discord really quick. This is pick 1 of 2. Here we go. This is the score.
So when you make his love return alone. You see your heart's being tethered to a sinking stone. You know the score. It ain't limited to your knowing looks and touches anymore. You know the score.
Fuck you!
Why?
Fuck you!
Why?
Beating my ass.
I'm not beating your ass.
Fuck, that's a J pick.
No, it's not.
That's a J
It's
pick.
a my pick.
Fuck. Okay, so interesting thing. Okay. Oh my god, I don't know where to start. So the arpeggiation in the guitar reminds me of fuck. I can't even say fuck. It reminds me of something off of an early Radiohead album.
Oh, really?
It also sounds like a classical guitar etude. You may have seen me trying to
Explain-
figure out.
Explain etude.
You know what an
the
etude
layman.
is? It's a study.
Okay.
I'm not to say that's not to be reductive and say it's simple, but it reminded me in the tone. I couldn't tell if that was. It sounded like nylon string, but it sounded like flesh on nylon string, not nail.
I'm relying on you to tell me this.
And it just reminded me of early guitar etude, like you're getting into classical guitar progressions, but more common in popular music as just like intermediate to medium level, like fingerstyle guitar. And honestly, the vocal style reminded me of a song that I chose a long time ago by a band called Drinker.
I don't remember that.
It was a long time ago. Okay, so first thing I thought of when I heard this, one of the most obscure picks I've ever chosen, which
When was this?
This was one with Daniel. So, and it was in Houston.
Oh, okay.
The arpeggiation of the guitar and the vocal style, if it was mixed with like a shame,
Okay.
sounds like this. Yeah, the guitar a little less, but this is the first thing I thought of.
In the morning when it's time to leave,
I could see this being a pick for you now.
sun's coming up behind us. Skyscraper see.
I think I remember that line specifically.
I just want you to hear the swell before we get back. Stop rubbing the mic! I can't believe this song didn't get bigger. I love this song. Out on the western sea,
I remember this now.
far from my enemies. Memories of that. I just want the synth pulse to come in.
I remember that.
As
Okay,
a bottom.
It's coming back.
Here it comes. This is the part Daniel went, oh.
Yeah.
Sleeping. Okay. Am I like totally off base
No,
there?
you're really close. You're
Okay.
dangerously close, and I'll
Okay.
tell you why.
Why?
This is the first solo album by... It's a side project of a lead singer of a post-punk band that I love. It is... Rian Chatton is the lead singer of Fontaines.
No
Yeah.
fucking way. He didn't sound that much like it. Whoa.
His vocal style has evolved quite a bit.
That's fucking sick. And you know, when I was thinking about my pick, I said, I'm going to take a deep dive on the Fontaine album
Yeah.
that he tried to get me into. And I just ultimately didn't get around to it.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm glad I did because I probably would have found out about this little project.
This is that album is his solo album. It's called Chaos for the Fly. It's awesome, and it's very much like that the whole way through.
Well, the reason I'm most mad was sort of the reason I got mad at Daniel when he did a VCR stream. It's like, this is mine.
Your territory.
You're taking this from me. That was an awesome pick. Like, wow. Like, I will be adding that to a Moody playlist. very
lead
soon.
track. So there we go.
Wow. All right. Well,
I have that album. I almost brought it. Oh.
vinyl? Well, it's very tricky bringing vinyl and like
Yeah, it is.
packaging and
It's
shit.
okay. Next time.
So the next song I arrived at is one of the most complicated decisions I've ever made as far as music picks are concerned. In fact, it is the complicated one. Don't even turn around. I'm going to let it play. And I'm going to see if your eyebrows raise up in knowing it. This is Beanie by Shazil.
Said you looked past my love while I came with open arms.
That's different from what you normally pick. I like that.
So fun.
That's some real lo-fi pop there.
It is.
I like that.
Fun little bit of information about this song and why it was so difficult for me to pick. This song blew up on Reels. This song was featured in like thousands of.
Really?
The
On Instagram
opening-
Reels?
Yeah. The opening guitar. It was on like 1,000 videos, and I was like, he's going to know about this. I can't pick this. But yeah. Finally, just a few days ago, it clicked. This is the one. This is the pick. And it's got some more modern lyric conventions that I don't like.
I didn't even catch on.
My,
it, like-
my.
Oh, sure, okay.
You know, but yeah, that's a sick little tune. It's only 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
I dig it. I liked it.
And it just finally resonated with me, and I was like, that's it. That and the Terrifier Christmas song. Well, not the real Terrifier Christmas song. It's a Terrifier Christmas.
I forgot about that one.
It's a great one. Also written like a traditional Christmas song. All right, Chris, you got to bring it home.
Yeah. So this one has been sticking to my craw for a while.
Oh, my.
This is not a song because it has no lyrics.
Oh, very astute observation of you.
And
Very common problem people don't realize. It has to have vocals.
this was kind of like a today's pick kind of thing because
Mm-hmm.
I had a few things lined up and I just felt like this had to happen.
Okay.
But I am picking a track from Twin Peaks: The Return because like after we finished that, I kept thinking about this song and like the melancholy nature of it, and it hasn't like left my mind. And then today it came like it just really hit hard.
Is this one of the end of episode performances?
No, it's not actually.
Oh.
It was close. I almost chose Rebecca Del Rio.
Oh, that's a good one.
No stars. It was
Yes.
written by David Lynch. But this is what I'm picking. Sorry. Picking the Windswept Reprise.
So this is editing J. Something happened between a break where a cable got pushed or a button got mashed on the preamp, Anyway, I don't know what happened to the audio quality here. It went nuts. It started humming. I've done what I could to try to fix it. But anyway, enjoy the rest of the podcast.
No way, that's over already. There is an extended cut.
Fuck. You know, amazing piece of music.
I agree.
Evocative, moody, contemplative, reflective. And you know what it makes me think of?
What?
When I first saw Twin Peaks Season 3 finale, I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
But to me, it sent a message that the cycle never ends. And this song somehow made me think of that and be reminded, and how it's actually for David Lynch, it's a very good ending.
Yeah. There is a comment. Sorry, let me go down on the mic here.
Sure.
There's a comment.
You literally need to go down like your whole skull.
There's a comment that I read regarding this piece of music a while ago on YouTube. Let me pull it up. I think I still have it here. Yeah, here it is. It's a great comment. It just nails the whole feel of it. There's a deep undercurrent of sadness in Twin Peaks. Always makes me feel a little melancholy for reasons I can't quite discern. Don't really want to either. I think that's such a cool idea.
That's a great encapsulation of the whole series, really.
I mean, that is everything I feel in that piece of music is exactly what that comment describes.
Sultry melancholy. Just gorgeous. Wow. Wow. Hell of a pick, and I'm proud of you for an instrumental pick for once. Because aren't you the guy that was like, instrumental music is boring?
I've grown up.
I mean, I get it. It is boring. Like,
it still sucks.
My favorite guitarist is Jeff Loomis from formerly of Nevermore, and guess what? Nevermore is reuniting this year.
Oh, Evermore.
Well, vocalist Warl Dane died a few years ago of alcohol-related causes, and he was the voice of Nevermore. Legendary voice. Sounded like Ozzy if he was more cursed. And yeah, some of his music bores me. Even though it's like, oh my god, he's doing like guitar gymnastics.
Yeah.
But wow, that's a great example of music that's minimalistic, that doesn't have to do jumping through hoops like that kind of music does. And I don't think I'll ever stop thinking about David Lynch.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, man. Just is.
I've thought about him since the first time I saw Blue Velvet. The very first episode of Twin Peaks.
Glad we rewatched Blue Velvet pretty recently.
We did. And it's still as good as it's always been.
I think it gets better with rewatches, honestly. I love that movie.
You know what
Silly
song...
as it is sometimes, but man.
You know what song blew up that I think David Lynch would have liked?
What's that?
It had a comeback this year. You didn't give an honorary mention, by the way. You gave your 2 picks.
Oh, gosh. What is it? What?
You know that Mazzy Star song?
Play it.
This reminds me a little bit of Twin Peaks, and I don't know why. But, this song by Mazzy Star called Fade Into You blew up on TikTok and like Instagram. And I don't really know why it came back this year. It's a very old song. But I think I might go out for David Lynch. Not that this was music from his product, but I think this might be a fitting in song for a podcast about the passing of David Lynch.
I feel like since you did honorary pick of Echo and the Bunnymen, I will also do honorary pick of Echo and the Bunnymen and do Killing Moon.
Fate up against your will through the thick and thin. He will wait until you give yourself to him.
Here's Mazzy Star.
I wanna hold the hand inside you. I wanna take the breath that's true. I look to you and I see nothing.
Oh my goodness, it's crazy hearing that music again.
This is a big cast, man.
Well, you know, I've been rewatching stuff about Breaking Bad recently.
Oh, yeah.
And on, not the day David Lynch passed, but the next day, the same day I've been awake when I found out he passed, I think I'm going to read a poem or a poem.
A poem. Wow,
you never know.
look at you.
Poem. My sister was a poem person. I always got on to her about poem. Say poem.
Yeah, I knew poem people. You know, like, people that say roin instead of ruin? Same kind of thing.
Sickos. I'm just going to read this. It's by Walt Whitman. When I heard the learned astronomer, when the proofs, the figures were arranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I was sitting, heard the astronomer, where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room, how soon unaccountable I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, and I wandered off by myself, in the mystical moist night air, from time to time, looked up in perfect silence at the stars.
And I saw Major Briggs floating.
And David, oh, they're together. Goodbye, Mr. Lynch.
Today I was thinking about the song Fade Into You by Mazzy Star from the year 1994. This afternoon it's going to be going up to 95 very toasty degrees Fahrenheit, 35 Celsius. And it looks like we're going to be wall to wall, beautiful blue skies and golden sunshine all along the way. Everyone, have a great day.